Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Hey, the crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
How'd you do? How was the week?
Needed.
Yeah.
Slept.
How was your week, Josh Hodson?
You want to compare vacations?
I didn't go anywhere or do anything.
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'd rather take that.
I mean, I did a lot of yard work like that.
That's fun.
That's good.
No.
I slept and I ate. I ate a lot of food. I probably have eaten more food in the last week than maybe I did in like the entire month of February.
Tell me more.
Nice.
Like I had Greek food. Oh. I had hibachi food. I had ballpark food.
These are good foods.
I had what else did I? Oh, I went to a steakhouse. I went to Capitol Grill.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a New York strip dry aged gorgonzola crusted steak.
Excellent.
It was incredible.
Sounds cool. Was it $100?
It was a lot, but I wasn't paying for it. So
nice.
It was one of those.
Love not paying for stuff.
No, when you're around your parents, at least my parents, at least right now with my age, they don't expect me to pay for things.
Good job.
Which is an incredible money saver. Outside of I did have to pay for the flight and the check bags. Yeah, no, I am going to be. I have realized my brother is now off the insurance.
Your time is coming to an end.
And he told me now how much he has to pay for insurance. Not looking for
it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
But then you just do it and then you don't think about it anymore because it's insurance.
That doesn't sound fun though. I don't. Yeah. I like having money. And that just
you'll figure it out.
Give up a lot of money. Speaking about giving up, you're
gonna buy stuff.
Would it shock you if I told you that I was bad at fantasy football?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no. Is that the answer that you need?
Yeah, no, wanted? I was because I go out on a limb. Yeah,
you're a vibes guy.
I have a feeling guy. Justin Blackman. I think it's the year, right? Like
that never really happened, did it?
I thought that every year for like 6 years.
Yeah. I was like, man, Josh Gordon, if he just cleans some things up, he could be a really high impact guy. Like all of the memes about Kyle Pitts. Everybody drafted. I'm one of those guys.
That guy should be better at football.
Or like the.
So what have you learned? Are you going to draft Kyle Pitts again? Probably.
Yeah.
If he's there for you in the third.
There. So I'm in 2 leagues. I'm in a keeper league.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Yeah.
My keepers are Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Xavier Worthy, and Drake May.
Whoa, that's 4 keepers.
And then I'm in a guillotine league.
Whoa.
Okay.
What is that?
So guillotine.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what that is either.
Is an 18-team league. 18.
Yeah.
And every week you don't play anybody. It's not head to head. It's just you try and score as many points as possible, and then whoever has the least amount of points,
they get their head chopped off.
They get kicked out of the league.
That's awesome.
So they're no longer in the league. And then
I was actually, you know what? I was in one of those and I didn't like it. And then I got kicked out and then I never joined again. I was like, all right, I thought that's what the guillotine meant. I died.
So, and then they put all the players in the pool and then you got to bid for the players, right?
I got you.
It's just can you manage
right. So after the team who gets eliminated gets out, all their players become available.
Yeah. So I'm in one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say, Josh, you lose week 1. You had Kenneth Walker on your team. Kenneth Walker now is a free agent, and I can go and I can bid and I can pick up Kenneth Walker if I want Kenneth Walker. But my team this year in fantasy football will be pretty good because I have the first overall pick. Because I came in last.
Do you want the first overall pick in fantasy football this year?
If you're in a standard league, I think Bijan Robinson would be a phenomenal pick for anybody at the number 1 slot.
He was the first pick in my league last year.
This year though, in the dynasty, I'm taking Ashton Genty.
Whoa!
Because
then you get to have him forever.
6 years, he gets to be a keeper. But I before I acquire my first overall pick, I have to do a punishment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to go to a bowling alley, and I have to bowl a 300. Every beer that I drink, you knock off 10 pins from your required score.
Yikes.
So I went to the bowling alley on Friday to practice.
What's your baseline for bowling? Are you good, bad?
So I shot an 82.
That's not good.
Okay, that's really bad.
That's
both
a lot of
times.
beer.
That doesn't even make any sense how bad that is.
It is ridiculous how bad I am
Yeah,
at bowling.
you should be a lot better than that.
It was
like you're at least mildly coordinated.
It was 2 games, and
I mean, we're looking at 20 beers here.
22 if we're being specific.
Yeah.
And this was sober, by the way.
You're not going to go in there and bowl an 82 again. I don't think that's possible.
So actually, I didn't bowl an 82 once. I bowl an 82 twice.
Oh, that's
I played 2
really
different
not
games.
good.
I played 2 games, and I got an 82 in both games.
You should be able to roll out of the rack and drop a 120.
You say that, and my father says that too,
Yeah.
and he is just as baffled as you are.
Yeah.
Okay? He goes,
What are you trying stuff?
I am really
just no, but don't try stuff.
Yeah, don't try and spin.
Just roll it down there.
A couple of things.
You're strong.
First off,
You don't have to throw it hard.
I have bad shoulders. Okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have surgically repaired left shoulder.
Yeah.
Surgically,
Left shoulder shouldn't really matter.
Surgically repaired right shoulder.
Okay, that will hurt you.
And also too a torn labrum in the right shoulder.
I have that
still.
Yes.
So I have to bowl with both hands.
Which should make you okay.
And I hit the middle pin a lot, but the pin's gonna fall down when you hit the middle pin.
Okay. So you want to hit it at an angle.
I hit it at an angle, and then it still doesn't.
See,
work.
that doesn't make any sense.
I know it doesn't
You're
make
lying.
any sense. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
I'm not.
The physics doesn't add up.
So I have to go. First off, I don't even know where a bowling alley is around here.
Oh, we got a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
What bowling alley would you recommend?
This town
For
is
me.
alley pilled.
Yeah, we got bowling. That's for sure.
Okay.
It just depends on where you live. You live downtown, so I guess I don't know where the closest bowling alley would be to downtown.
I would need also 2 hot dogs. If I eat a hot dog, I get 10 pins off that score as well.
Okay.
So I'm thinking here, my strategy is
You're going to be there for a while.
we're gonna
Do you get unlimited amount of games to be able to do this? Okay.
As long as it takes.
But do the beers reset?
No. So if I drink a beer, the score is 290 no matter what games. It's just an ongoing, long-standing thing.
So you're going to be there for a while. But
I think the proper
you
way
can knock this out, and I mean, maybe you just get lucky a couple times. You could probably do it, hopefully, in like 5 games.
God, no, I think it's going to take way longer.
Oh God.
I think it'll take 12 beers and 6 hot dogs at a minimum for me to be able to get this done.
Oh, and I think you could. Yeah,
12 beers, 6 hot dogs, and then after
and it's not going to be a pretty sight at the end of it, but I think you could.
So
you could do it.
I need to find a place that has hot dogs though, because not all bowling alleys have hot dogs.
A lot of times the bowling alleys have great food.
This is true.
This is true. That's a good take. I totally agree with you. One of the best burgers, I think, in the Chicagoland Northwest suburb area is in a bowling alley.
Yeah, I always said the best restaurant in Lincoln was Sun Valley Lanes.
I
actually kind of believe that.
I was in Lincoln for 4 years. I never went to Sun Valley Lanes once.
Come
there
on.
were so many people who would go there, and it would be like a drinking it. Like they were like, "We're getting drunk. We're going to the Sun Valley Lanes."
You bet.
But before I turned 21, we would get drunk, and then we would take shooters in the East Campus parking lot, and then we would go to that bowling alley they have there at the Union, at the East Campus Union.
Yeah.
We would get
home of the national champion Nebraska bowling team.
We'd get hammered in the parking lot.
Adam writes in on the inbox.
Hi, Adam.
Does bowling with both hands mean McMaster is a granny style bowler? No, it sounds like to me
The
that
cradle,
you're trying
right?
to
Yeah.
you're trying to fling it and spin it. Don't do that.
Great advice.
Don't do that. Just throw it down there and you'll get more than 82.
It's the spares. I can't pick up the spares.
That makes sense because you're trying to spin it.
No,
You probably have a difficult time at aiming because you're trying to spin it, and then the spin becomes inconsistent.
So look, you're
doing too much.
You can critique.
You've been watching too much Fox on Sunday mornings.
First off, what? No, what is that?
Well,
mean?
they used to put the bowling on ESPN on Saturday or Sunday mornings.
I think the better one would be saying I've watched too much Northwestern basketball, because right after Northwestern basketball, they're always on FS1. They have the PBA, the Pro Bowling Association, right after that. So if you're a fan of the Big Ten of basketball, and you watch all those games, you'll watch a lot of PBA bowling.
Interesting.
And they all
and Johnny
bowl with two
Fanta
hands.
did a bowling last year.
He does a couple of them.
Yeah,
He's
get him in there.
awesome at it.
Get him in there.
So, by the way, you can critique me all you want during my live stream.
Oh, there will be a live stream.
There will be.
That's the punishment.
Oh, I'll be in there.
There will be an Instagram live
That's great.
of me
I'll be in there.
doing
Don't worry.
this.
By the way, everyone's telling you to go to Chops.
Okay. Does it have hot dogs?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Chops.
Okay.
Never chopped before. Multiple people saying Chops.
I think the over-under will be 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
3.5 hours.
That's not
now,
bad.
It's a commitment.
the odds, yes or no, for throwing up, high. Very high.
Ooh.
Now, here's the thing.
There's a quick answer to this. Just bowl better.
That's the thing. I'm terrible at bowling.
I think you can bowl better.
I'm worried about what happened because I'm talking about bowling in 82 with no beers, with clear minds, full heart.
Yeah.
Definitely can lose, you know? And I lost. My dad doubled my score. My 65-year-old father doubled my score.
That makes sense because that's once 160 is pretty good.
175.
Dude, that's about where you should be right now. You should be hitting 160.
Why I feel like you are judging me a little bit.
I am. You can't. It seems impossible to me that you're bowling less than 100. Significantly less than 100
consistently.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm not a good bowler. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just roll the thing down there.
Well,
and I'm like with ease 120.
Lucky for you, I am going on Friday. I'm doing this Friday.
I get it. 220 once.
You've bowled a two. You're a sneaky athlete. You're a little sneaky athlete.
Maybe I am.
You're a first guy in, last guy out, lunch pail.
I just know what it's like.
Type of guy that I let date my daughter. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just not doing, I'm not doing too much. I'm just throwing it down there. Some days
you shot a 78 at golf.
Yeah. Some days it all comes together.
That is ridiculous.
That's what you're hoping for. You're hoping for the round of your life.
That will never happen. I will tell you some things that won't happen this year. I'm not going to shoot a 78 and I'm not going to bowl 220.
Not a 220, but maybe like 150 if you get lucky.
See, this would be. Yeah, Callan says in the chat, I'm on Matt's sides here. Connor's being a bowling elitist. 170.
What do you mean elitist? I'm not. I'm talking about not
what
spinning
is
the
an
ball.
average bowling score? I don't think it's 170.
No, it's not 170.
It's not 82.
Like for the average American?
Yeah, average American bowling, I think, would be 110.
Bowling.
The highest I've ever bowled is a
Between
148.
130 and 150.
That's where you should be.
That's the highest I've ever bowled is 140.
You should be pretty routinely at least in the 120s.
See, I wish I was good at bowling because if I regularly shot like a 200, I feel like that'd be a fun punishment. I just have to bowl a 200 and drink 10 beers. That sounds like a great time.
It would still be a challenge. I mean, make no mistake about it, but it would make it a lot easier.
This is gonna cost me a little bit of money too, unfortunately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's a bowling alley and you're in Omaha. So
how much is a game?
No idea. I would have no point of reference for that.
Yeah. It was $7 for one game in Chicago.
Yeah. That seems cheap. That's good.
Michael Severe just asked me. He goes, "Wow, you suck at bowling."
Yeah, you do.
Welcome to the. Yeah, why are you are flabbergasted?
It's just really weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Why is this weird to you?
You're the one talking about all your athletic. How you're the best athlete and all these things, and then an 80.
There are some things that I'm really good at. Okay, like croquet, really good at croquet. Okay. Wall ball, really good.
Right.
Tennis.
These are interesting games.
Ineffable with. Okay. Can't mess with me in tennis. I'm very good at tennis.
But you got the messed up shoulders.
Man, I don't know. I just get in the zone. I feel like I'm Rafa. Like I just feel it. I got good knees though.
You might be overthinking it on the bowling thing a little bit.
And bowling is just. I think I'm a mental midget though.
Kalen says 130 with ease and no trying is definitely not normal. Like, I'm just talking about rolling the thing down.
But that's not how physics works.
Rolling down the middle.
Because if I just roll it down the middle, then I'm going to have a 7-10 split every time.
How many gutter balls are you taking per game?
A zero. I don't do gutter balls.
So
I hit the pins.
Interesting. So you're saying the gutters?
Can I tell you what I did?
The gutter blockers, the bumpers wouldn't help you?
I went 5.
Can you pay the price of 5 extra beers for gutters?
No.
For
I
gutter
don't
balls.
want to drink 27 beers. Okay.
I'm just saying.
3
extra beers.
I would 5.
You should negotiate this.
I've already negotiated. Getting the hot dogs was my big negotiation. Because I would have had to drink 18 beers.
Yeah,
that's not safe.
Not good.
That's too many beers.
You don't want to do that.
The amount of beers that I cap, I will only the 15 is like.
You don't want to go much higher than that.
I think 15 is the. Well, I can't also too. I'm gonna have to have somebody drive me home.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice Saturday afternoon.
Nick Grimm wants me to take videos of it. We'll post it.
Well, there's going to be an Instagram live, I heard. So
that's what you've heard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you that.
So it'll be on the internet.
Is that your sources are telling you that this is going to be on Instagram?
Great
live?
job, Nick. Always thinking about the video content that we could get out of this. Caleb says my 8-year-old son can bowl 120s consistently.
Caleb, you want a cookie? I don't give a damn what anybody else is bowling.
It just goes to prove that you shouldn't be this bad.
But you know what, Connor? You know what? It is. Okay? It is. And I don't really think at this point we are very far gone in trying to discover as Matt McMaster can become better at bowling. This has been something that my father has been wrestling with for the last 3 years. Okay? Because he's embarrassed. He tells me that. He goes, it's embarrassing to go to a bowling alley.
Now, was this punishment specifically designed for you?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
My buddies know that I'm bad at bowling.
Gotcha.
They know that it's
because this would have been a lot easier for the normal man.
For the normal man, it sounds like a good time.
It sounds like fun. Yeah.
You know,
get my boys together, go to the bowling alley, rip a couple beers and dogs, bowl at 150 and get out of there.
And get out of here.
Yeah.
It would probably take you, I would say, maybe an hour.
This is a longer.
It would take you, you have about 3 hot dogs and like 6 beers. Give it an hour and a half, and I think you could probably.
Yeah, this is gonna be a longer deal for you.
Also, too, I imagine. Let's say that you're in the 8th frame, and you would be bowling like a 180, right?
Uh-huh.
You would probably be like, all right, I'm gonna go to the bar and I'm gonna chug 2 beers to knock this down. Mid round. So you can go and get them.
I think my strategy would just be to bowl and drink at a normal consistent pace. And then whenever I get to it, I get to it. It's kind of one of those. That's what I would.
That's your strategy?
Maybe I should think more about it going into it, but I wouldn't have much of a
think about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have much of a strategy. But yeah, you are not the normal man, as we've discussed.
Well, the funny thing is that like the whole bowling thing will be very like there's no point in me bowling for the first 2 hours.
It's just drinking.
It's just drinking.
Okay.
Like for the first 2 hours, there's no point in me just bowling.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like I'm not going to be able to even come close.
Yeah.
To the score that I need.
No, you're right.
So it'll kind of just be, honestly, I think I'll just save money and not bowl as much, and I'll just drink a lot.
Interesting. Yeah,
that is an interesting strategy. Interesting way to go about it.
Because why? What is the point?
Because you don't know how many shots you got in the bag. Like if you got, if you're on your 6th game and all of a sudden that 82 becomes a 48.
I know.
What are we gonna do? You're in big trouble.
Like,
but I don't know how it gets much worse than that.
I've bowled worse than an 82.
That's crazy.
That is when I do gutter.
See,
I bowled an 82 and I didn't really gutter bowl.
Brian writes in, do the math. 81 is basically an average of 8 pins per frame with no spares or strikes. That's almost more difficult than bowling a 130.
I went 5 straight frames.
There's, the pins you're supposed to knock them down.
You know what, Connor? That's a crazy strategy. I never thought of
I'm just saying, I just wonder if you're clear on the rules.
See, look, I've given you a pound of meat and you've taken it, okay? But this is I'm aware. I'm bad. All right.
Okay.
What I was looking for from you was actually some guidance and some help and some cheerleading. And instead you've taken it the other way.
It's a tough it's a tough situation to manage, I think. Because you're just so bad.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I'm screwed. There's a reason I'm doing it on a Friday.
But at least you have all those Caleb Williams videos to watch. That's exciting.
So Gary
he's looking good.
Gary was trying to antagonize me about it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't give a damn.
You don't care if he's bad?
I don't care.
Like, what if that's the truth?
I don't care.
What if he is bad?
I don't care that he's throwing interceptions in a brand new offense and training camp.
No, but I'm asking is,
there's your answer.
What if that's the truth? What if that?
I'm not going to believe it's the truth until he does it against Minnesota on Monday.
Okay.
To begin the year.
All right.
All right. I'm not like all
That's
these.
fair.
I'm not
That's
like
fine.
all these doofuses who are like, oh my God, he's terrible. Oh my God, he's awful. He's a bust. It's practice. Do you know how complicated Ben Johnson's offense is? It's pretty damn complicated. Do you know how many snaps that Caleb Williams took under center before he got to the NFL? Not a lot.
No, I don't think probably any.
I don't think he took one.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been under center in his life until he was drafted by the Bears and Shane Waldron, who decided, yeah, we're going to use 12 personnel every 2 snaps and get a guy who's never been under center. Oh, and we're not going to watch film with him. He's a rookie. To me, he's a rookie. He is in his rookie year once again.
Yeah.
They completely screwed the pooch last year.
With that being said, there's a wide range of possibilities of what his NFL career could be. It could be that he is actually terrible.
No, I don't think.
Okay.
He was way too good at USC for him to be bad at the NFL level.
Right.
It's just, you know what my concern is. My concern is that he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, not for the Bears.
That seems
That is my biggest fear.
plausible.
My biggest fear is that he goes to a real coach somewhere. And not to say Ben Johnson. We'll see. I mean, everybody's like, look, Gary loves Ben Johnson. Tell me, oh my God, he's so excited about it. Everybody back in Chicago, because I was listening to those radio stations, they love Ben Johnson. He's never been a head coach before.
People forget.
Game changes a little bit.
Yeah.
John, by the way, emails in. He's got some guidance for you.
Hi, John.
He says, I have some guidance for Matt. Don't ever bowl again. You are wasting your money. That's what
John,
it says.
John, I'm going to tell you, John, I already did that. I was already ahead of you. When I bowled on Friday, it was the first time I had bowled in 2 years. Okay?
Yep.
I don't bowl. I'm not good at it. I don't do things that I'm not good at it unless it's golf.
Connor took a similar layoff and won.
Shot the best round of my
Because
life.
you are a good athlete. You're a natural athlete. You're a
But I
college
thought
athlete.
you were this, Mr. I'm going to hit a home run all the
But
time.
yeah, I mean, but in certain, you want me to say that at your peak, you were a better athlete than me? Yeah, at your peak, you were a better athlete than I am. I can't deny that.
So you're saying I'm at my peak now?
No, you're not. No, God,
No,
no.
I am most certainly not.
But you are cruising.
I have much evidence
See,
to
look,
prove
you
this.
are at the adult cruise altitude where you have done things enough in your life, right? Over and over and over again, where irregardless of how well you can sprint and how well you can move, you just know how to do things at an effective level.
Okay.
You've bowled so much that it doesn't matter.
I haven't bowled so much.
But listen, you've lived enough life, right?
Yes.
Where, it doesn't matter that your knees are crinkly and that your elbows are gone and that your shoulder is shot, and that, there's a little bit more things to work with at your age, right? You have life experience where you can kind of just step up and do things at an effective level. I'm not there yet. I don't have those experiences.
So you're still learning how to
bowl.
Clearly,
question.
specifically.
Poll question. Are you still learning how to bowl?
I wish you.
Michael Severe is blowing up my phone.
I wish you good luck in your endeavor.
Hi, Michael.
When is this taking place? This weekend?
Friday?
Friday.
All right. Exciting. Stay tuned to the live stream, everybody.
No, I'm going to go straight from here.
Oh, you'll be doing this during our show.
Yes.
Counter programming?
Exciting. Yeah. Let's check in with Matt McMaster.
He's bowling a 68.
Yeah. All right, he's on the 8th frame.
I
He's
think
got
he's got
42 down.
Yeah. I think he's got 50 pins. What frame is he in? The 9th?
That's not very good.
What if I shock the world, though?
What if you, maybe.
What if I shock the world?
Maybe you could do a thing where this will be the last thing I say about the bowling. Maybe you get to like the 5th and you've only knocked down like 28 pins or something like that. And you're just like, you know what? Can we just re-rack this? Can we start over? That way you're not wasting your time.
Yeah, I think, but honestly, I would actually take that as the moment to drink more beers and be like, all right, I'm going to take my time on this game.
So you got to roll that thing.
Beers.
Ball's not going to roll itself.
There's no time limit. There's no shot clock.
It's true.
It's true. I just pay for the games. So I just hope that
sounds like you got a lot on your plate.
Would it be cheaper to hire a ringer to do it for you?
Illegal.
Okay.
Not allowed.
Didn't know if you guys
You
thought
don't think he's thought about that?
No, I've thought of every way in and around this, and it's.
Well, if I could get PDW.
All right. Well, you go think about it a little bit, and we'll get an update throughout the rest of the week.
Practice rounds this week.
I will try. Do you like the mustache?
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
It's very common for the children these days.
A lot of people made fun of me for the mustache.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna probably get made fun of, but then it'll be normal eventually.
Oh no, I'm going to shave this thing.
Oh.
This is a 1-day type deal.
Oh, dang. You should keep it for a couple weeks.
I don't like you.
No, I'm dead serious.
I know what game you're playing here.
One of my very good friends who did it as a bit. He had a mustache as a bit, and he's had it for several years now, and now it's just part of it.
I know the game you're playing.
Nick Grimm, your great friend, my great friend, everyone's great friend. He mustached himself, and then all of a sudden, what? He shows up one day without a mustache.
I mean, it
doesn't look right anymore.
I don't think Nick Grimm is the greatest example of why I should keep doing it.
You said it.
Yeah, I did say it.
Okay.
It's not like he ain't. I don't know. It's not Burt Reynolds. Doesn't have a great stash like that. It's just there, you know.
I got no problem with what you're doing right now.
I don't like the game you're playing because it looks bad.
I'm trying to give you a compliment.
I don't take your compliments. I don't believe anything you say. All right, you're a crock of you know what.
No, I'm not.
You make fun of me. It's fine.
I do.
You are just. I know the Connor Happer game. After 8 months, I've been here for 8 months.
Feels like you need some gas on this, so I was gonna give it to you.
No. No, you know what you're playing. You know it looks bad, so you're going to encourage me to keep it, so I can just continue to walk around with a worm on my lip.
It's not about the mustache. It's about the confidence. It's not about the mustache. It's about the man.
You don't have to tie.
You don't wear the mustache. The mustache wears you.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly.
I'm just going to shave it when I get home.
All right, that's the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. That's Matt McMaster, and it's Monday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly to partly cloudy skies for your Monday with a 20% chance of showers through the morning. High today of 79 with winds out of the south up to 10 miles an hour. For tonight, remaining partly cloudy with a low of 63 and light winds. For your Tuesday, slightly warmer highs into the mid-80s with another chance of showers later in the day. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KATV Newswatch 7.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Big year. I'm starting middle school.
Welcome to the jungle, Missy.
Best part? My parents promised me a new laptop.
Perfect for homework, essays, and drudgery.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Odson. That's right. He's back, folks. Josh.
Did you miss me?
We did. We had a nice, fun week with Joey last week.
Joey, man.
And I have no idea what happened on the show on Friday with Austin and Joey, but
Don't tell us.
They call themselves the Three Amigos, even though there's only two of them. I don't know what they mean by that, but I just go along with it.
Good bit.
I did get a couple tweets about Austin being the GOAT fill-in, which I agree with.
Yeah.
That's why we always call upon him.
He shares our moronic sensibilities.
So thank you to them boys for holding it down last week, but we are back and we are never leaving again.
Can't possibly be true, but okay.
There will be a couple days. Josh has the Classic Josh show this week, Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
I have a thing. So Josh,
I got you.
Yeah, Josh is just going to hold it down for a little while. But we always get positive reviews. You guys are really nice to us when we need you to be. You know? You're I like the Josh show. So I asked Josh, do you want to just take this one? You could get after it a little bit. He's like, yeah, hell yeah.
I'll probably have something to say about something.
Yeah, you will. And it'll be I have an opinion on Wednesday, and other people will have other things to say about other things.
They will help me say things.
Exactly. So welcome to the show, everybody. Monday. It is the first Monday in the month of August. Welcome to August. August weather will return this week.
Oh,
as it heats up gradually, but we've been enjoying the lovely, lovely days that we've had around here.
Yeah.
Over the last few. It's been nice. And we got football to talk about because it's football season, because that's what everybody's telling me. Mike?
I don't want to talk about that Hall of Fame game.
No, we were in no danger.
Okay, good.
I watched it not a second.
Not 1 second.
Not a snap. I believe I saw the final score. It was 34-7. I realized the under didn't hit, and then I stopped caring.
If you watched it and you had fun and you celebrated it, that's great.
I
Good
respect that.
Yeah.
As we would say. I respect that. Today on the show, Mike Schaefer will join at 11:30. Sam McKewon will join at 1. And we begin our summer school series today with a check-in on the Cincinnati Bearcats. So we're going to have to, we'll probably talk to Scott Springer from the Cincinnati Enquirer. We'll talk to him today at 12:30, and then probably in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Something like that.
Assuming he can string together back-to-back sentences, we'll talk to him in 3 weeks.
yeah. That's also the fun about summer school. You get to just figure out if this works or not.
Yeah.
Who are these guys?
This going to work when people are listening?
We don't have a Cincinnati guy. We've never talked to a Cincinnati guy before. Here we are. We were close. We would have been close about 5 years ago.
We would have.
But I wasn't here, and that didn't happen. So, and then COVID happened. That was fun. That's the lineup, powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We want to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And yes, we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Boy, I missed you all on Thursday, even though they were here, but they were listening. Josh, this is how awesome the YouTube streamers are, in case we need another lesson in this. They were in the YouTube chat because I had scheduled the show, so it went up as a live link to click on.
But none of the computers were working, or
Correct.
The hamster fell off the wheel.
Correct. There was nothing inside of there except for the chat. The chat was still live, and people were listening to the show
on a different device,
in other methods.
Oh wow!
And commenting in the YouTube chat for a little while.
Dedication.
Yeah, that was big time. That brought a tear to my eye. Like, wow, this is really great. Thanks, guys. But we're here, and the video works, and the sound I think works as well.
I checked it during the crossover. I think it does work.
Okay, absolutely fantastic.
I couldn't remember how to set it up.
So that's the setup for the show today. We are pleased that you're with us. Elsewhere, we'll have Matt Rhule and a few different topics that we pulled out coming off of Nebraska's open practice on Saturday night. Rhule talked before that practice, and then there was many videos of many things that happened at the practice. Also on Friday, the BTN crew rolled through.
I saw that. I said, "What's this on my DVR?" And I was like, "Oh, BTN in Lincoln."
I watched that on Friday from a hotel room in Dubuque, Iowa.
God's country.
After a couple pops, and I was loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. Yeah. So maybe I have a different perspective on the BTN show than everybody else does, considering the setting in which I watched it in. I'm excited to talk about it. Dana Holgorsen was on there. I love when Dana Holgorsen is on television. It's one of my favorite things. I like when he talks. I like listening to that guy.
It's really the simple pleasures in life.
It really is. Dana's here. I got nothing to worry about. I'm going to kick back and have some more of this soda pop that I'm drinking. This is fantastic. All right. So we'll have those things on the show. The MLB Speedway Classic is being compared to Firefest.
What?
Exciting.
Firefest. Nobody won Firefest. A team won the Speedway Classic. The best team
barely
won.
By an inch.
By an inch?
Well, I mean, that would have been a game-tying home run in the 9th inning.
Oh, that's right.
And
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're talking about like a metaphorical inch.
And that same guy hit a couple of home runs. He never does that.
He never does that.
Onto the race car
and
track.
They drove a pitcher from Georgia.
But really,
for the day.
No, he flew on the commissioner's plane.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. That
either way.
Yeah, they were
what a
like,
story.
They were like, get him back here. We need him right now. Get him on the plane.
For one of our College World Series guys.
Hurston Waldrop. Yeah. Florida guy. So sounds like that went off really well.
The pregame stuff Saturday was great.
All right. We'll have some things to talk about inside that conversation. Other news in baseball at the deadline on Thursday, the Minnesota Twins exploded themselves into oblivion. That was not awesome because I feel for my friends who are Minnesota Twins fans, but wow, that was a hell of a show to watch. I was like, oh, this is going to be a kind of a weak deadline. Nothing's going to really happen here. Suarez got moved the day before. I'm like, all right, we're kind of dumb here. And then Twins are like, how about everyone's for sale?
I was not following sports.
Yeah. I bet you weren't, Josh.
I was getting a whole bunch of notifications from the MLB app that I didn't know I had signed up for every time an acquisition was made. It was really annoying, but a lot of them were Twins.
Awesome. It's fantastic. We missed Jersey Leak Day, leak, quote unquote, on Friday, so that'll be fun. Also, I didn't think I'd ever say this on the show, but we need to check in with the Nebraska Legion baseball state tournament.
It's about damn time.
What in the world happened?
I don't have all the pieces of this story, so I'm going to need your help.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving pieces on that one. So, yeah, we're excited to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. John texts into the show, Josh.
Hi, John.
Josh, he says, the psychos in the YouTube were listening to silence and at the same time commenting. No, they weren't listening to silence, John. They were listening via a different listening device, of which there are many to listen to the Connor Happer Show and all the shows on 1620 The Zone.
So many.
Like the app or 1620thezone.com or just the good old AM radio. All of them are available to you. I don't know, like TuneIn Radio.
It's a good signal. It's a good app.
It's all good, baby. Mm-hmm. But here we are back in full strength. So, without further ado, let's light this candle. We are back after this. It's Monday on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
If the roof on your home or business received hail damage from the recent storm, there's only one call to make for an assessment. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
All right, welcome back. I'm Connor Happer, Josh Hodson here as well on a lovely rainy Monday. People were wondering about, well, there's a couple things. So this past weekend, had my yearly trip to God's country. Josh, lovely.
Got to be talking about Dubuque.
Yeah, of course, Dubuque, Iowa. And then traditionally on the way back, we stop at Pancheros and steal all their sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. Yeah, it's good. It was good. I would say it was low. It was low yield this year, but we got what we needed.
Okay,
we got what we needed. The funny thing about it was when I'm not kidding. When we walked in or when we drove up in the parking lot, a cop car was sitting in there, and then we went up and got in line, and right at the end of the line, paying for their food, paying for their burritos, police officers. And I'm like, we're just going to let this one. That's got to be a coincidence. And I think it was.
Surely no one from the audience called these fellows.
No, they wouldn't have known. We went to a different Pancheros too.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. They got the green. They had the spicy green sauce. Really, really good. Really good. So that'll fuel the fantasy football draft gathering this year. We put all those sauces on the wings. Thank you to Pancheros. You don't know what you've done for me.
Wow.
Thank you so much. What a delicious place. Great tortillas.
Yes, that was my favorite part of eating up in Pancheros. The tortilla was so good.
They had the number one tortillas out of all of the fast casual lunch burrito places. They have the best tortillas. By far. And that makes a big difference.
It is.
Don't just shrug off the tortillas.
It's all about the wonton. It's all about the tortilla.
It's all about the tortilla. So it was a good weekend. We did not win. So I wasn't able to pull off the triple crown of winning things, but we got second. So that was good. It was good. We get to enjoy all of the spoils and splendors of Dubuque, Iowa. So here's what I did not know. Going into Saturday night after the competition round. So Gary Dolphin. Exactly. Is from Dubuque. Gary Dolphin has a bar in Dubuque.
This all tracks.
Called Gary Dolphin's Bar. Dolphs for short.
But it's not about me, Gary Dolphin.
And that is where we went to celebrate another great tournament played.
Sit down, be humble. I'm Gary Dolphin.
He did I went to their Facebook page after I was already there. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And there he was. Gary Dolphin was like, come to Gary Dolphin's Bar. We got a bunch of good music going on tonight. And drinks and stuff like that. And because it's a bar after all. Nice place, got an outdoor courtyard. Just hung out at Gary Dolphin's Bar the entire night. You're in Hawkeye territory in Dubuque.
Was Gary Dolphin there?
Gary Dolphin was not there, and we knew that.
Sure?
Yes, because we would have heard that he was there, because when we got there, it's kind of in this newer, like downtownish area of town, and there wasn't much parking. We didn't try very hard. There wasn't much parking though. So we go out back to the one designated parking lot, and it's like this is a parking lot for 6 or 7 businesses. Not enough spots, of course. And there is one spot that says reserve parking for Gary Dolphin. And guess who parked there? Not Gary Dolphin. Me. It's called sending a message.
You're
Josh.
just a criminal.
It's called sending a message. All right?
Gary's space.
Literally.
Gary's space for Gary's bar where he sits in Gary's stool. And...
Yeah, I don't know where he usually sits when he goes in there. But yeah, it got... reserve parking for Gary Dolphin. Right there.
That is a photo.
It is. And that's where we parked.
Golf's is a place where you can say things.
Luckily,
unencumbered by society.
No. Luckily, he didn't show up, and we didn't have to deal with the ramifications of parking in Gary Dolphin's parking spot. So it was great.
What do you think would have happened?
I don't know. I would have been. I was kind of rooting for it to happen.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Probably would have just said like, hey, I got a bunch of Nebraska guys here. They're just messing with you a little bit. I don't know how I would have took that.
Yeah, we're just razzing you, Gary.
Yeah, probably would. Me and Gary. I probably would have moved we probably would have moved the car and found a different parking spot. But yeah, no, not a criminal, Josh. It's not a criminal.
Would have been pissed.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Seems like a great guy.
I don't know. He seems like a pretty good guy.
Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a nice guy to me. I got to hear about your week off though. Before we get into the real stuff here, I really want to know, what was it like? What did you do? What did you not do? What did you did you? So you didn't follow sports at all?
I didn't.
You just unplugged it?
I tried to as much as possible.
Job.
Monday, Tuesday, it was too hot to go anywhere or do anything, so just kind of blah.
Yep. It was hot.
Did a lot of yard work.
But you sat. How many movies did you watch last week?
Watched a couple, not a lot. Tried to really pace myself. Went to Prehistoric Putt a couple times.
A couple times. Nice.
That place is great. We should do things there.
Where the one out on Center?
Yeah.
Okay.
They got a nice bar.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a bar and grill. They got 3 different courses.
There you go. Josh Odson here for Prehistoric Putt.
That's right.
That would be awesome.
That would be.
Listen, I go here all the time. You should get a reserved parking spot.
I should. They give them to broadcasters.
Apparently. But it was good. You unplugged.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's never as fulfilling as you want it to be.
Oh.
Whenever I take vacation, I end up coming back and I'm always thinking at the end of it, you know what Scotty Scheffler said about nothing is ever fulfilling enough? Like what happens if you win? You just win. It's not that cool. Life is meaningless. That's kind of how I feel at the end of vacation. Like I didn't
Thank you for saying that.
It didn't meet all my wildest
Yeah.
dreams. I didn't do anything. Should I have spent the time more
It was
efficiently?
Yeah, it was
maybe.
a staycation. I didn't go anywhere. Should I have gone somewhere? I didn't get the things I wanted to get done.
No, of
I got
course not.
some of them done, but not all of them.
Of course not.
So
Did you feel like it was a long week by the end of the week or a short week? Like you needed
on the
more
longer
or you
side-
needed less?
On the longer side, yeah.
Good. That's a good place to be when you return.
I really don't have other jobs. I've had a ticking clock in my head, and I don't really have that here. Just sort of that tick-tock, tick-tock. Monday's coming. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
So you like coming to work?
I don't mind it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a nice rosy outlook on life,
Mhm.
Josh. Good job by you. All right. So it never is going to meet your wildest dreams and expectations. Because you look forward to it for so long. It's what Scotty Scheffler said.
Yeah.
We look forward to getting to do all these things, and then
Built
they
it
happen,
up.
and you're just like, that was nice, I guess.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get this done.
Just doesn't really fulfill me the way I needed it to fulfill me.
I went to the movies, had some good popcorn. What more can a guy like me ask for?
It's in the little things, Josh.
Yeah.
It's right there in the little things. Well, I'm glad you got the week. I'm glad you got the week to chill out and enjoy yourself and your family a little bit. But now, lock in because it's Matt Rhule talking season. He's going to say so many things about so many things over the next month. And there are certain things that this is a good time to take stock. There are certain things that he's selling that I'm buying.
Oh.
There are certain things that he's selling that I'm not buying. But we'll see how they develop over the next month. But I told Joey this whole roller coaster ride of the next month or so leading up to the first game, by the way, in Kansas City on August 28th. I don't know if you've heard that. And we're going to talk to a Cincinnati guest today, so you're about to hear about it. But usually what happens during this month is we go up a win or so in expectations. You missed a week. I missed 3 last week during this period of time, so I didn't quite get the big hype bomb. But no doubt about it, the hype bomb did, it probably went off last week. And
Finally,
we're feeling the residual. We're
Okay.
feeling the residual effects right now. I think people are getting excited. But the bad news for the people is that they have to wait still several more weeks. I've always argued that this is the worst time. We wait it's like a vacation almost in a way. We wait all off season just to get to this moment. Oh my God, camp's open and we are here. I could smell it in the air. And then you just have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until the first game. And once again, not to be the bearer of bad news, they're going to play that first game and it'll be, like there'll be a competitive football game there in Kansas City. And then they will play 2 more games that will be almost completely meaningless unless they're horrible in those games. So then we won't learn anything else until the end of September. We basically have 2 data points in the next 2 months to learn things off of. So that's exciting. That'll be really cool.
And depending on how that Michigan game goes, might be able to excuse that away.
That's when the existential dread kicks in.
Yeah.
We got an email here from Ross, and yes, this was on the list for today. I forgot to mention in the pre-show.
Hi, Ross.
The freaks list from Bruce Feldman, which has now grown to over 100 people.
There's 100 freaks.
There's 101 to be exact.
Oh.
And guess how many Nebraska has? Zip.
0?
Zip.
Oh.
Egg.
You want more freaks than that.
Egg. Iowa? Not 0.
Oh.
Not 1 either.
Multiple freaks?
Multiple freaks. So we'll get to that today during the show.
Multiple freaks.
When we come back, we will hear from, good question from Dan as far as these checkpoints that were hit. At what point will we get the report that they are tired of hitting each other and need to hit someone else?
Great take.
I think that's the end of this week.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a long time pining to hit someone.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, fire hose, and then dog, immediately followed by dog days. There's 2 weeks of that. All right, we'll be back, 11 o'clock hour. We'll hear from Matt Rhule. What is he selling that I'm buying? On a couple of different topics and more as we return to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, folks, enter online, 1620thezone.com for your chance to win 2 tickets to Nebraska and Cincinnati at Arrowhead Stadium on August 28th. Once again, that's our website, 1620thezone.com. You're also not just going to get the tickets. We'll get you parking, and we'll get you your hotel as well. Your lodging near the stadium, I'm told. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's near the stadium. So makes it for easy access. And you know what? Let's throw in a $100 gift card too.
Whoa.
How's that sound?
That sounds like a dream come true.
And it's all possible, made possible by Bankers Trust. Experience the Bankers Trust difference today. Head over to our website, 1620thezone.com, and get entered in for tickets to the game and more. Over the weekend, Nebraska had their open practice, the Big Red Preview. You were able to buy Michelob Ultras at the Big Red Preview.
There are 2 things I saw from this thing over the weekend.
Michelob Ultras?
Michelob Ultra and Michael Severe reacting to players.
Michael Severe, I read through all of Michael's tweets.
I'm glad he did the work.
He did. I wasn't able to be there on Saturday. Actually, I really wish I would have been able to be there because it's kind of a, you just get to kind of see it in front of fans, and it's fully padded, and it's a scrimmage. There's scrimmage periods, there's team periods. So it would have been nice to be there, but no, I did consume the content, and Michael puts a certain spin on it that makes it easily digestible if you can read things in Michael type.
Yes, you do have to know how to do that.
if you can get there, then you're going to have yourself some really good information. So they had their open practice, they had fan day. I saw the reappearance of the Shield. I saw a young man moved to tears by meeting young Dylon Raiola.
Oh, okay. I believe that's possible.
Yeah. Why were you?
I didn't know where we were going.
He was moved to tears, not by
the open practice.
Not by the open practice.
Seeing a Mick Ultra.
Now I would be moved to tears while walking that stadium, and I just heard the pads cracking. I'm like, football. You smell the smells.
Well, I'll bet that stadium has some smells.
The sweat and the grass and all those different things. There's certain smell, and we had a taste of that weather-wise over the weekend. They had some cool mornings, and it was a nice night on Saturday night. Also, the BTN crew rolled into town on Friday and had their observations from practice. So there's plenty of good information in those as well. Matt Rhule spoke before Nebraska's open practice about a variety of different things. Let's play a couple clips from him here before we ask the bigger question here. He was asked specifically about Elijah Pritchette, the transfer from Alabama.
Oh, I'm aware.
I think when Nebraska went and got him, you were like, okay, we don't have to really worry about that anymore. There's your starting left tackle. Rhule, after the first week of practices where people see kind of how people are lined up and which teams they're working with and all those things. So he was asked about Pritchette specifically, and he characterized maybe a different situation than people were expecting. Here is Matt Rhule on the Alabama transfer tackle.
Elijah's done a really nice job. He's got a tremendous battle on his hands. We have battles at all the positions, and football is football. Football athletes, we talk about training, it's really divided up into 3 parts. It's the physical, it's the psychological, it's the technical and tactical. And so part of it for him is, he's still working on all the newness of it. This is not some college spread offense. We do all the things that we do. I did when I was at the Giants. Donnie did when he was at the Bears. Just high level things for, which is why we believe we're preparing guys to the next level. And so it's just about him continuing to get comfortable with all those things. And I really like where he's at. I like where the whole line's at. And, it's just we have a lot of competition. We're able to rotate guys through, and sort of see see who grows the most. Really, the first week is I don't pay attention to things in the first week as much as I watch growth. It's really the second week, which is like the grind week, and then the third week, which is I think what separates people. Who can have the competitive stamina. So we'll see where everybody's at. Weeks 2 and 3.
Okay, so there's Rhule on Elijah Pritchette. It's not. I mean, it wasn't like a scathing review of him. So it wasn't like, man, he's just not doing anything right and we can't get him in the right. No, it was like he's working on it and getting there. So there's some room for growth for him, clearly. But what I wanted to say specifically about this is that I would not like when I hear something like this. Once again, this is the guy that everybody assumes was going to have one of the tackle spots, and you assume from there that it was probably going to be left tackle. They went out and acquired him, right? They needed some money to do so, and they got a remember they were in on several tackle transfers this offseason because they needed one or two. Struck out on a few different guys or fell short on a few different guys. Didn't win some recruiting battles as far as the transfer portal is concerned, and then ended up with Pritchette from Alabama. And like I said, they had to pay a pretty good price to get him. And so you just assume, all right, there's your starting left tackle, and we don't really have to worry about it. And then you hear like, oh, he's not really working with the first team all with all the reps, and you're just like, what's going on here? When I hear this, and Rhule says he's working on it, it's kind of music to my ears a little bit. Like, I think it's a good thing. Ultimately, we care about Nebraska as a football team. I think it's great if Elijah Pritchette just hits the ground running. There have been some other transfers, you're about to hear a couple of them in a second here, who have hit the ground running and have, really started to be the people that not only continue keeping up the standard, but, help set it. Right. And Rhule was pretty eloquent on that, and we'll play it in just a second here. But like, this sounds good to me. This sounds, it's not obviously great for Elijah Pritchette, but if he's in a real battle with Gunnar Gatula at that left spot, and maybe then the other guy goes to the right tackle spot, or Teddy Prohaska is really going to give it a go if he could stay healthy, and Tyler Kanak is there too. It sounds like Nebraska has some options there. So if there is one thing that they are selling that I am buying during this period of time, they're selling the fact that the offensive line is ready to go. Now, you heard, if you watched the BTN thing and heard some players talk about it during that and I believe Thursday of last week as well, they're like, well, we think we're good enough to win the Joe Moore Award, which goes to the best offensive line in the country. Now, I don't know about that. I wouldn't necessarily take that jump, but I am buying the offensive line. I think Nebraska is going to have a good offensive line this year. And I think it's not necessarily what they say that makes me believe that. It's kind of, they've been able to stack it a little bit. They have guys who have been around for a long time, who have played a lot of football, who are solid. Yes, they have. I think they're working on that younger depth at this point, but that's after really the top 10 guys. Holgorsen mentioned it last week. He says, something to the effect of, we have 2 good offensive lines, right? We got 10 on the offensive line. Once it gets to that third one, it's a little bit tricky after that, but you don't need 15 offensive linemen to have a successful season. You need 7, 8, 9, 10. And I do feel like Nebraska's offensive line is in a really good spot. It's helped out by its offense. It's helped out by more playmakers around it. I think it'll be pretty good in the run game. Rocco Spindler, from all accounts, is a classic like road grading, interior offensive lineman, which means good in the run game. We'll see what happens with him in the pass game, but Dana Holgorsen, he likes to get the ball out quick. Like, it feels like a lot. It's been stacking years and years and years now for Donovan Rhule, and they have some older guys, they have some experienced guys, they've supplemented it with transfers. I like the look on that offensive line. If they're selling it, I'm buying it. And maybe it's too late to buy at this point. Maybe the stock is too high. I don't think they're going to win the Joe Moore Award, for the record.
Whoa.
I do not.
How could you?
But you can have a very, very good offensive line without being the best offensive line in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nebraska will have a very good offensive line this year. I don't think it's a stretch to say that I think that line will be very good or just pretty dang good, all right, however you want to characterize it this year. I think that's a good situation for me. So when I hear that a guy who started at right tackle at Alabama last year comes in and he's not like the immediate sworn in starter at one of the tackle spots, that kind of gets me excited a little bit, because I think that proves that there are some guys that are really, really capable in the room who know what they're doing and, can bring it at specifically at that tackle spot. I think you're in good shape on the offensive line. On the transfers, here's Matt Rhule. He was asked about, I think BC asked this question. It was something to the effect of just those frontline defensive transfers. I think Watson Trent was mentioned. I think McCullough was mentioned. I think Andrew Marshall was mentioned in this conversation, like in the lead up in the question period. Like, how are those guys kind of adapting and assimilating to Nebraska as a team? I think this answer is another sign of, we say it all the time, year 3 Matt Rhule. Year 3 Matt Rhule. What happens year 3 Matt Rhule? Like, everybody kind of knows what they're doing and knows where they're going, which is, in my opinion, like 75% of the battle, especially during camp. So here's Rhule on how some of the new guys have come in and adapted.
The thing with those guys is they walked in from day one and they were like we were really diligent this year about, I don't want to bring anyone in here who complains about having to eat in the training table. I didn't want to bring anyone in here. I already fixed that problem. I don't want to bring anybody who complains about practice. Like, now it's the other way. Like, I end practice on Thursday was a shorter practice, I think. Thursday, and like Dylan's yelling at me like, get another rack. I'm like, first of all, he's a quarterback. You're not hitting anybody, but they're all like, let's get another rack. And Dylan, as we walked off, he goes, he always makes fun of me. He's like, yeah, we like practice. So I want guys who like practice. So they've brought that. The Suns brought that, right? Like, not that they brought it to a team that didn't have it. They've just assimilated into a bunch of guys who love practice. And so, like, there's not like a deal where you're like, well, that guy's a transfer. That guy's been one of us for a long time. It's very much like we're kind of all in it together. So it's a really healthy thing. They have brought talent, though. I'll say this about Marshall. I don't get asked a lot of questions about this guy's as professional as could be. Like, he practices and behaves like a pro. He doesn't say a lot. He's a really good football player. He's going to play really well for us. I respect the heck out of him as just like the competitor professional that he is.
Okay, so that last part, that's a pretty good nugget on Andrew Marshall, who feels like he's got at least a very good chance to be Nebraska's other starting corner opposite Sierra Wright at this point. But I think the bigger picture and the bigger part of that conversation is what he said in the first minute or so. There's a point in time where Nebraska's grabbing transfers out of the transfer portal and they get here and they're like, well, I've been at other programs and this is the way they do it, and you guys kind of have to catch up to me. And there's been some times over the last handful or so of years where Nebraska's best player is a transfer, and it's like, all right, everybody, kind of get on my back. I'm not saying Nebraska's best player won't be a transfer this year, but it's about how it kind of works in practice and the dynamic of the team. I wondered about that with Rocco Spindler in particular, right? So Rocco Spindler comes in, he plays a national championship game in Notre Dame last year, and you're like, all right, we're figuring him in to be a starter. Like, that's a really good pickup for Nebraska. How do other people look at him? I think there is still a certain amount of reverence toward Rocco Spindler, given what he's accomplished in his career and the stages that he's been on and stuff like that. But it's not like that guy's come in and be so, and he's been so far and way better than everybody else from what we're able to put together. Even from like a how do I approach things perspective. And from Rhule, that's a big deal. For the head coach, it has to be a big deal. And I think it does trickle into your football team and how you actually play as well. Who's setting the standard? How many people are doing it, right? How many people are saying, hey, jump on and get on board and get behind me? Or is it more of a situation where it's like, if you are not doing it, if you are not bringing this to the table every single day, then you are behind and you will fall behind because everybody else is on the same page. That's the latter, what I just mentioned, seems like what I would characterize Nebraska as a team as right now, which is awesome. I mean, that's fantastic news. So no doubt, Deshaun McCullough and Marcus Watson Trent and Andrew Marshall and Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter, like they're all going to, and Rocco Spindler and Elijah Pritchette, like they're all going to be really important players on the team. And it's very possible that Nebraska's best player is one of those people, but you know, they still have an adjustment period to make from getting to Nebraska and doing it the way that it is done here, which is a good thing. That's where you really start getting into the conversation about, you know, the best example is, unfortunately, that I could think of is like Creighton basketball, right? Like there is an established culture there. They know exactly what they're about. They know exactly what to do, and generally what kind of team they're going to be and how they're going to approach practice and the everyday and all that stuff. And so you worry and you wonder about bringing in transfers, and you're like, man, how's this going to work? What has this guy done before? Is there a problem? Why did he end up transferring in the first place? So like Rhule said, you got to be really intentional about the type of people that you're bringing into the program, but also their work ethic and all that stuff as well. But I would say that the evidence is there to say that like Creighton has been a strong enough program for a long enough time where they have been able to walk that thin line of increasing their talent level from the transfer portal while also keeping the principles about what Creighton basketball is all about. And I think that's the goal. That's the goal with Nebraska football right now, right? Can we go out and get really good players that help us? And can they be, can they help us set the standard? When they come to Nebraska, do they turn into Nebraska football players? You know what I mean? That's what we always say with Creighton, right? They go get guys out of the transfer portal and are like, oh yeah, they're going to be a really good Creighton guy. You know, there's still a learning curve that those guys have to have when they get to those places, and it makes it difficult sometimes.
Honk, honk.
I know. I'm sorry. It was the only example.
It was right there.
It was the example that best worked in my head. But you want to be able to say like, that's what a Nebraska football player does. You know what I mean? Like that's what it means to be a part of the program. Not just like the history and the tradition and stuff, but I'm talking about the work, like the everyday stuff. So it sounds like they're in a good place in that regard. That's what I would characterize it as right now. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing today.
It's a good thing today. It's a good thing every day. Like, you know, it's a good thing to hear. That's for sure. I mean, it can't be a bad thing. From the 402.
Hi, 402.
Oh, this is from the Section 220 boys.
Hello, 220 boys.
Happer bringing things back to the Jays. You are daddy, is what it says. That's what it says.
Hey, we just read the text.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Left tackle not being figured out yet concerns me. I feel like that should have been decided by now. I don't know. They've practiced 5 times.
I'm not worried.
You heard Rhule say this, or maybe you haven't, but Rhule said this on Saturday afternoon when he talked. Like, they had a fully padded, get full contact practice, not all the way through. Obviously, you have to kind of manage it, but you have a fully padded practice, so you have the ability to do full contact. You only get 9 of those throughout the entire camp before you play the first game. So you have to be really intentional about what you're doing during those parts. And honestly, just, guys, it's difficult for guys to make big leaps and jumps and secure spots this early in camp after the first padded practice. Yeah, maybe you would have liked to say, all right, this guy's our left tackle, and let's just go with it. But I like that for the record, I think at the end of this camp, when we look at those tackle spots, I think one of the tackles will be Pritchette and the other one will be Gatula. Whichever way they figure it out. And my guess is still at this moment that Pritchette is going to be the left tackle and that Gatula is the right tackle. And I think that's a great situation for Nebraska. And then you have backups for both of them with Prohaska and Tyler Kanak at this point. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that that sound good coming off of the first week. That's for sure. I got one more thing that they're selling, but this time I'm not buying it.
Oh no.
Tight ends. I talked about this a lot on Thursday, And then we received the call from the notorious Dayman, and we kind of talked about other stuff. It's just really hard for me to expect a lot out of that group. They talk about him, and we see the practice videos of Heinrich Harburg, and you're like, whoa, look at these physical monsters. I mean, they're supposed to be physical monsters. Everybody else has physical.
End, sure,
yes, you're a tight end. You look a little bit different than everybody else on the team because you're taller and you're a big guy. They should look like that. That's a good thing. That's a step in the right direction, I suppose. I would actually say that Nebraska's had a physically imposing tight end room, but if they could get a great jump out of Carter Nelson, awesome. The ceiling is there, the potential is there. If they can get anything out of Heinrich Harburg, awesome. If they can get good, consistent production out of Luke Lindenmeyer, awesome. It's not that I think they're going to be bad. It's just I think people have maybe overdone it a little bit with the potential in the room. But who knows? Maybe Carter Nelson absolutely jumps and things look different at that position. He becomes a huge weapon there. His body certainly looks like he's in the position to do so. John emails in.
Hi, John.
On the Equitable Bank inbox. Who does John have a beef with, Josh? Emailer John.
Emailer John.
Who does the
NBA?
Who does he not care for on the offensive line?
Oh, Teddy.
No, the other one. Turner Corcoran.
So I knew it started with a T.
That if Turner Corcoran is still on the team, it proves that Nebraska still doesn't have enough talent to be considered the best offensive line in the country. That doesn't mean they can't be good, but if he couldn't be pushed out, they aren't going to be the best. Hey, look, you ever heard of the grandfathering rule, John? You keep with the guys, you know. There's no real hard cut roster limit this year. They didn't really, have before that. After that came through, they didn't. I don't think they would have done this anyway.
Look, everybody, we tried to break you in practice and camp, and if you didn't quit, you're still here. Congratulations, you're on the team.
So, what's going on in the chat right now? What are Lane and Charles yelling about?
We're debating Matt Rhule's in-game coaching ability in the YouTube chat.
Okay, I like it. That'll be a topic.
Getting after it. Oh yeah,
that will be a topic when we get into the games.
Can't wait.
That was one of the topics that I talked about with caller Notorious Dayman on Thursday.
Yeah,
like when you have more options at your fingertips, does that make it easier or harder situationally? I know. So it's a little bit to digest there. It's a lot to think about. I don't think we'll know the answer until it's go time, but there you go. Chris in South Carolina writes in.
Hi, Chris.
If Heine learns to block, watch out. Lots of potential. Yeah, like there's a real world where Heinrich Harburg doesn't actually. He could be one of those guys that we're looking at in 2 years of like, oh, that guy ended up being a pretty solid NFL player, but he didn't. They were never able to find the right thing for him to do at Nebraska, or it just never quite clicked right away. It's all very new for him. I could definitely see that with Harburg because, the body is there and the athleticism is there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if he went and hung around for a while in the NFL, but they weren't able to really ever make it click at Nebraska,
I could see that. Yeah.
But we'll see. Mike Schaefer is going to join us on the other side. We'll get his thoughts, and we'll see what he's buying, selling, not buying. And we did a little bit of that last week, but now that we have a week of practices under Nebraska's a week of practices under their belts, we got plenty to talk about. So come on back on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth. For sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
All right. Let's pull up the old phone line here, and that's where we find Mr. Mike Schaefer of Nebraska Husker 24/7. Schaefer, what's up? Good to talk to you.
Not a ton. Just enjoying, life here in Lincoln for a few more weeks. So, the moving process, that's been a blast. I was commiserating with Josh about how much I'm not enjoying yard work at the moment. The usual. Perfect.
Did you see that the coaches poll came out?
I did. Nebraska's 39th.
39th. Is that respect or disrespect?
I don't think it's I think it's perfectly fair. I don't think it's disrespectful.
Okay.
Nebraska was probably like at some point last year the 39th best team in the country, so that seems fair. I think it's fair. I mean, I don't think you can put them in the top 25, and I don't think that they are so completely removed from success or having any of it that they would have to be in like the, much lower than that. I think that's fine.
They got some votes.
One of the rare times it gets it right.
They got some votes in the top 25 clearly because they got 19 points. I would imagine that they'll get some votes when the AP poll comes out next week. So there's at least like a handful of people out there who are like, yeah, I could put Nebraska in the top 25, and I'm not particularly ashamed of it. So I think that's a pretty good starting point for this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I personally, if I was a voter, and I would never want to be a voter, because I don't think there's any real way to be able to do this job and watch 25 teams, actually play football and rank them based on any level of knowledge. But I wouldn't presume Nebraska to be a top 25 team to start the year. Now, should they go out and take care of business against Cincinnati and they're like 3-0 when they play Michigan, then that seems like they might be a top 25 team at that point. I think that would be fair.
Open practice on Saturday night. You've been putting together the list of standouts and guys who just kind of popped a little bit to you, both at the top of the food chain, so to speak, for Nebraska, and then maybe a little bit deeper down. Was there anything that caught you off guard at all on Saturday night, just as far as the player development piece is concerned?
I wouldn't say anything caught me off guard. There was some interesting, choices in terms of who was getting reps where and when, but I don't want to make too much of it because you saw a guy lining up with the second team that you would have expected to be with the first team, that happened earlier in the week with Elijah Pritchette. So I think there's still a lot to kind of be determined as to with specific roles and everything. And I also just think Riley Van Poppel wasn't running with the ones on Saturday during live period exclusively. It doesn't make me think that Riley Van Poppel won't be a very critical part of Nebraska's defensive line. So there's just little stuff like that sort of popped up throughout. Teddy Prohaska, right tackle. But a lot of Saturday for me was just kind of seeing who I thought popped in terms of the practice. And I was paying attention to the guys probably a little bit deeper down on the depth chart, because Dylan's going to throw a nice pass. Like at some point in the practice, you're going to be like, oh, wow, that kid has a nice arm. You didn't really need Saturday to tell you that.
Right.
I didn't need Saturday to tell me that Ja'Cory Barney is going to be pretty good, or, that Emmett Johnson is going to be involved in the offense, or all of those sorts of things. So I was just kind of trying to get eyes on some different people. And there's some guys down Nebraska's roster that I think are going to be helpful this year. And I'm sure we can dive into those if you want.
Well, Jordan Ochoa. Is Jordan Ochoa's this year's Keona Davis, or is this something different?
It's a little different because Ochoa would have an entire redshirt year, where Keona Davis was doing it as a guy who signed in the second period and didn't arrive until June. And so part of what made it remarkable is that he was able to just sort of show up and appear and be that good. We'll see if Nebraska has any true freshmen like that this year. But Ochoa is more of, hey, this guy was kind of interesting. Last year, he had a nice bowl game. His story is sort of unique, where he passed on opportunities in the FBS level to sort of take an NIL scholarship and walk on at Nebraska. And then you go and you see him on Saturday night, and he's listed at 240, but he looks bigger. He's pretty sudden. He absolutely wrecked, and I don't want to make too much of this, but it was watching it happen. It was like, whoa, he absolutely wrecked Teddy Prohaska in a one-on-one. And I think he's a guy that, like, the guy that Dean Willis McGahee could end up being your Jacks, and maybe Deshaun McCullough has a different role with this team, because I don't know where he fits in the grand scheme. I've had a lot of issue, with myself trying to figure out where Deshaun McCullough is actually going to play, because I just don't know that he's I don't know that he has an exclusive role. And I think they have a lot with Willis McGahee, so it'd be hard to keep him off the field. I think Ochoa has made a move. Matt Rhule talked about him, early Saturday. I hadn't even known that at that point. And just watching on Saturday, he stood out to me. And so he's one of those guys that, like, I always make these sort of jokes or references in the off season, but if you're buying stock, like, you want a share or two of Jordan Ochoa, because you want to be able to brag at the water cooler. Like, yeah, I knew that guy was going to be something when he's inevitably something in October, and I think he will be.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, I said this morning, Schaefer, but like, I had really never been in a situation where Nebraska had a player that was playing in a game and I actually didn't know who he was. And that was Jordan Ochoa last year in the bowl game. I was like, where did this guy come from?
And he looked pretty good.
And he looked pretty good. He did pretty well. And now it seems like he's taken that jump, which is a huge, because I didn't factor him into the equation prior to last week. His name didn't pop up that much. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna probably need this guy for however many snaps it is.
And I don't want to overdo it. It's not like he's gonna go be, I don't even know if this reference works for you. It'll work for some of the listeners. I was gonna say Derek Thomas. You know who Derek Thomas is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, and not that you're that much younger than me, but like, Derek Thomas, for a certain level of person, like, that was an incredible pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know why that's who I was going to use as a reference, but I think Jordan Ochoa can be pretty helpful. I think he can help sort of replace, a James Williams, if you will, or even if you want to go beyond that, like, I don't know, he's going to be the steady veteran in the locker room that MJ Sherman was, but could he have that level of production, like the 3 sacks? And I think he can. Like, this is the guy that I'm really, really kind of fired up about what I saw on Saturday. And again, one practice, but the fans buzz on him and the people I talked to post Saturday that have been over there, he had a really great offseason.
Yep.
And when Rhule kind of just drops in there, don't sleep on a guy, he's kind of telling you, like, hey, this guy's going to be involved. And so I think fans should, have their antennas up for Jordan Ochoa when we get to August 28th and beyond.
Schaefer, I was thinking about this, and there's, I guess, a sort of a recruiting angle to this too. When you look at Nebraska's the sophomores that they will have on their team and producing for them this year, obviously Dylan Rhule, I have no concerns about, and these are non-transfers, like guys that they recruited. Rhule, Ja'Cory Barney, who nobody should have any concerns about at this point. There's Carter Nelson, who figures into a big role. There's Gunnar Gatula. There's Riley Van Poppel. There is Keona Davis. There is Willis McGahee and Vincent Shavers. And there's a guy or two in the defensive backfield that'll probably figure into the equation as well. Like, those are some real hits there. And because they already got some playing time last year or over the last 2 years, if they're a redshirt sophomore, kind of interesting. That's going to be kind of the core of their team this year. And then you add in the transfers who they've gotten some pretty good feedback from as well so far.
Yeah, and that's kind of why Nebraska doesn't have to overdo it in terms of the recruiting, go get a bunch of young guys, because they are relatively young. And then that allows you to see how this season plays out. If these guys make progressions, if some of the names you mentioned go from being solid to legitimately good, if Ja'Cory Barney becomes a weapon, if Dylan Rhule is one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and Nebraska has success, and you go into the portal this next year, you have a bunch of space with some of the outgoing guys, but you may not have available roster spots in terms of like guaranteed playing time, because you actually have a little bit of a development machine going. So, when we talk about Matt Rhule being a developmental coach and a developmental program, like, it's hard because it feels like he's been around a lot longer than 2 years, but this is just the beginning of what he's sort of put together over his first handful of recruiting classes. And so Nebraska's in a pretty solid spot that if things look good, they can really hunt and peck and choose specific players in the transfer portal. If it doesn't work so well and they have to make other moves, I think they're allowed the roster flexibility of that too. I think they've done a nice job of putting themselves in a position that all options are on the table, depending on how the year goes. And if they play well, they're going to be a destination spot because people are going to want to play with Dylan Rhule.
Well,
they've done a really nice job with it.
In my opinion, a good example is, I mean, there's a couple of them. But I'm thinking of one on offense and one on defense. The Pritchette conversation is interesting because people showed up at practice at the first one and he was like, oh, he was kind of running with the twos, and I always figured, well, that's just kind of a day one thing. Let's have a battle here. My guess is he's going to be Nebraska's starting left tackle, but at least it wasn't that he was just anointed that spot on the very first day, or a guy who comes in with a lot of, a buzz behind him, and Williams Nwaneri in the transfer portal. I don't know how much Nebraska needs from him. Obviously it'd be great if he hits, but in the past, the roster was thin enough to where you really, really, really need that guy to go right away. And I just don't know if Nebraska's in that spot right now. It seems deeper than it's ever been.
I mean, one of the issues that's plagued Nebraska for the last decade is it feels like their high-profile additions have to be great right away.
Yep.
Like there's no grace period for them to have mistakes, or there's nothing in front of them that allows them to get their feet wet. So when you say that, I think it's a representation of how Matt Rhule sort of wants this thing to go. Like he wants you to be a high-profile recruit to come to Nebraska, and you have to earn being in the first team reps that early in your career. Or, you have to kind of show that you can battle. Like, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be Pritchett at the left side. And I ultimately think Gatula could end up as their right tackle if he's one of their 5 best linemen. And so, it might just be a thing where you're just trying to have both of those guys push each other, and then maybe later in camp someone moves. So, and then with Nwaneri, he was running, I think at times with the ones on Saturday. So he's certainly looks the part, and that's a guy where, the advanced buzz was, oh, he had a bad freshman year at Missouri. Well, new scene, a new change of scenery, and sometimes the light bulb goes on for somebody. You need a year to fail in college before you get better. I certainly did.
Is there anything to be concerned about with Dane Key?
I don't think so, and here's why. I don't know the specifics of what his health is, but this is a veteran. Some of this could just be load management. He certainly has a wide receivers coach that he's familiar with, at least. I think Nebraska's offense will be fine if he's not able to be out there for every practice. He's going to get the chemistry bump that every broadcast will mention if he and Dylan Rhule actually are living together.
Roommates.
So he's got that. And so here's the other thing. That wide receiver room looked pretty nice on Saturday. Keelan Smith had a nice day. Cortez Mills looks to be exactly what Nebraska thought he was when they went out and made him a priority to bring him in as a wide receiver. I think Quinn Clark is going to be helpful. They have a pretty deep wide receiver room. Isaiah Hunter had a nice day too. And so I think Nebraska's, and maybe some of that is the defensive backs didn't have a great day. So maybe some of it was taking advantage of that. But I think Nebraska has a deep wide receiver room. Ideally, Dane Key is everything you hope he is, and he's off to the NFL, and 1 year stint at Nebraska finishing school allows him to be a great player. But there's some guys behind there that I think they're equally as excited about and could help as early as this season.
Yep. Schaefer will. Do you have any thoughts on the Twins selling off their roster for parts last week?
Not a ton. I mean, they obviously are looking to sell the team, and so usually you see lessening of financial commitments. Carlos Correa was a disaster of a signing largely for him. I don't know if Twins fans feel that way, but he was never really healthy. And then when he was, they weren't that much better of a team than when he wasn't with them. So I don't know that they, I don't know that they lost out on a ton of what they traded, and they added a few pieces. I know the Twins fans in my life have been a little annoyed watching the fervor and enthusiasm that the Phillies fans are showing when Johan Duran is now entering the game and all the pomp and circumstance that goes with that. But it was probably necessary for him. They picked a lane. The Royals picked a lane. They added some players. Cleveland didn't pick a lane.
I like it.
They're just driving down the middle, going 65, and they're getting honked at by everybody.
Honk. I'm excited. I mean, most of this is just due to the fact that they've won lately. They've won 4 straight series, but I don't know. I'm starting to, if this goes on for another couple weeks, all of a sudden I'm going to start thinking about October plans all of a sudden. They're only 3.5 out of the wild card, Kansas City is.
Yeah, and I think Cleveland's right there.
They're right.
Well.
Same record, basically.
Who knows what version of the Twins? Cleveland took 2 out of 3 from them. They don't have a lot going for them offensively. They have guys that are batting for them, and I feel like I have a pretty deep Rolodex to Major League Baseball. I have no idea who some of these people are, and so we'll see how far the Twins drop off, and we'll see what the wild card race looks like between our 2 dumb teams.
Yep.
So.
It'll be something, that's for sure. Schaefer, have fun the rest of the week. Enjoy that getting the old house cleaned up. That'll be fun.
Yeah, well, one of these interviews it'll be like, hey, I'm in Omaha now. What should I be doing? So we'll get to that point a little later in the month.
All right, Schaefer, see ya.
Yeah.
Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. You can check all of his thoughts from the open practice out there. Who popped? Some standouts. He's got that up right now, and then all the coverage from BC and Brunts as well. They do an excellent job at Husker 24/7. All right, quick timeout. Josh has the odd news.
I do.
I heard about a truck spill or two. Is that in here?
One truck spill is in
okay.
there.
Okay, and
It's probably the one you heard about.
I can't remember what it was. I'll have to think about. All right. Let's take a break. Josh has the odd news when we return on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, analysis, and commentary in a clean, concise, and disease-free way.
See there?
What a relief! Thank God!
Wonderful! It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
It is time for the odd news. Many people requesting things that Josh should bring to the table at the odd news. There's some things we will talk about. There's some things we won't. And I think you guys know what we won't talk about. All right.
That Caitlin Clark thing.
Well, no, we'll get to that.
We're going to get to it.
Don't worry. We'll get
when the time is right.
Yeah. All right. What do we got today, Josh?
We go to Portland, where they'll just let anybody pick up a bat over there.
Yeah, the Pickles.
The Pickles do baseball differently, and it is some incredible theater, says this article. On Saturday, the Collegiate Summer Baseball Wooden Bat Team was holding its Fan Appreciation Night at Walker Stadium in Portland. As part of the event, a fan was invited to get on the field and take a legitimate at-bat during the game. The fan stepped into the batter's box, looked confident, and unloaded a moonshot of a 2-run homer, sending the crowd into a frenzy.
It was a real life dong.
It was.
So this guy's a plant, right?
I would think.
I mean, there's no way he's not a plant. It's fine. I don't care. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
because he went out. He played some defense too, and he walked, I think, in his first at bat, and he slid into second base, and he was wearing shorts and an unbuttoned jersey. This is all. It's all fun and games. It's all good entertainment. Whatever. Do what you got to do. But I mean, they knew how good he was at baseball before they put him in the game.
I would imagine so.
If it was truly random, and you ended up with a 55-year-old, that's funny. It probably doesn't go viral because he watches 3 pitches and he's out.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, that's coming at me awfully fast.
The guy comes into the game. He's a little excitable. He hits a homer. That's going viral for the Portland Pickles.
Which is the goal of all minor league baseball.
Yes. Put as many good videos on the internet as you possibly can, and maybe one of them will go viral.
Mm-hmm.
And this one did. I saw it in a lot of different places. So, once again, do what you got to do. I got no problem with it, but this guy's 100% a plant.
Absolutely. I'm glad
What
we
was
agree
his
on
name? Pepper?
Dixie?
Yeah. Yeah. How was his name Dixie? That's not a name.
Nah.
I don't think.
If you're the plant, you got to give your name. You're trying to get something out of this too, right?
Maybe that's part of the agreement from the Pickles. You can't get anything off of this.
No one can ever know who you are, because then they'll know you're a plant.
Well, did we find? Somebody
sure
must have written an article about this.
I'm sure somebody's got his name.
Who is Dixie?
Careful.
Portland Pickles. Yeah, this guy's not a random fan. No way.
I wouldn't think so.
While
you're looking up that, I'll tell you about the truck spill of the week.
All right.
Multi-vehicle crash on the Pennsylvania highway turned into a frank disaster. After Connor?
Yeah, well, you just spoiled it right there.
No.
Hot dogs.
Oh, you got the pun.
Hot dogs. And I remembered.
You remember during the break?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
Thousands of frozen hot dogs spilled across the highway. The Shrewsbury Volunteer Fire Company shared on Facebook that they responded to a multi-vehicle accident involving a tractor trailer, which left a ton of debris in the road just north of the Maryland state line on Friday morning.
Everybody's okay, right?
Everybody's okay.
All right, thank you.
It did not seem that way at first.
So how many hot dogs?
Okay. This says thousands.
Thousands is
I don't have an exact number.
That's a clear enough picture.
Yeah.
Now, if those hot dogs, those uncooked hot dogs, they stay on the road for a while and maybe the weather's hot or something like that, all of a sudden we're talking about another smell. Not so much sticky this time, but we're into smelly territory, I think.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't want to be driving down the road and all of a sudden I smelled hot dog water.
Yeah.
It's just not right. So that would be the concern on this one. Usually it's sticky. In this case, it'd be smelly.
Dave says obligatory Joey Chestnut should clean it up. Joe,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Josh, you don't seem like you're super into this story. Just when so many people tweeted at you, you're like, all right, fine, I got to appease them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Now this one,
And it's a truck spill after all.
right?
Don't discourage the people from sending us truck spills of the week.
It checked a couple of boxes.
It
for
did.
us.
It did. Hitting quotas.
Now Charles sent me this story, and I immediately threw out one of the stories I had.
Oh, was it the one about
called an audible?
the president or something? Okay.
Yes, we were going to talk about that in the odd news. It's kind of odd if you really think about it, but
This one better be good.
a Denmark zoo has asked people to donate unwanted pets
Oh, no.
as food for its predators.
Whoa. What?
Thank you, Charles.
Whoa. What do you mean? Unwanted pets.
A zoo explains that if people have animals that need to be removed from their homes for various reasons, they can bring a maximum of 4 small species at once. The animals are euthanized by training staff and then used as food for the predators in the zoo.
Okay, so these are rodents. These are not pets, they're pests.
It says pets.
Like if I grabbed one of those bunnies that was hanging out around my house, if I somehow captured it,
yeah,
I would have no problem sending it to the zoo to be eaten.
I believe you would be able to get away with that, not knowing a lot of the details of this story
But
yet.
that bunny is not my pet. I don't have any sort of emotional attachment to the pet. Could you imagine watching your pet getting eaten? That would be horrific.
I need to see this through to the end.
Take it from me, not a pet guy. I mean, that would not be good.
The post on Facebook says that they can take smaller live animals such as chickens, rabbits, and guinea pigs, which are an important part of the diet of our predators, especially the European lynx, which needs whole prey that resembles what it would hunt in the wild. If it explains that if people have animals that need to be removed for whatever reason, they can bring 4 at once. In zoos, we have response. Yeah. We're
In
gonna do this
America,
naturally.
in America, you know, when a pet is dying and it's about to meet the end, you know what happens to those guys? Obviously, yes, there's a you know, they are euthanized, but what happens the day before that? They have the best day ever.
Of their life.
They have the best day ever, right? They go do all their favorite things. They eat the most disgusting non-dog food, and you know, like they give them the best day of their life, and they spend the day together. Not in Denmark, apparently. Not in Denmark at all. That would be horrific. Thank you, America.
So
thank you, America.
I have finished reading the article, and I think you are correct, Connor, that, hey, if
it's not pets.
The article says pets, the Facebook post said pets, but it doesn't say anything about like domestic dogs or cats.
No, it's like, a little whatever a dog name is, you know, like Scout. I've had Scout since I was 4. It's about time for Scout to go. Let's bring him to the zoo to be eaten.
It really,
God, no.
It's really talking about rabbits and guinea pigs, things you might like happen to have upon your property.
Yeah, that is different. That's not pets. That's pests.
I would agree.
They forgot a letter.
Boy, it sure seems that's an important letter. It goes on to say that in 2014, the world was different then, okay? Just remember that.
It was.
A zoo in Copenhagen caused controversy by euthanizing an 18-month-old giraffe and feeding it to the lions.
Holy Lord. The visuals on this are not good.
No.
For this Denmark zoo.
What are you doing over there, Europe?
Whew. All right, Josh. Once again, pests.
Oh.
Ferdinand,
they keep saying pets, though.
Ferdinand Magellan is back in the chat.
Hi, Ferdinand.
A couple comments. This has to be just a test to figure out who all the freaks are in the area. And this is your pet's opportunity to experience the circle of life. Very honorable.
You want your dog to go out on his shield.
Yeah, even for me, not a pet guy, that seems a little over the top, Josh. A little. I have drawn the line well before this.
I just want everyone to. Did you hear that, everybody?
Do not say things about me and my distaste toward pets.
Connor would
do not put it on the internet.
Feed the dog
No.
to the European lynx.
No, I would not. Somebody's got to watch that. Somebody's going to see that happening.
Now,
I don't want that.
Kina on the YouTube
Scarred for life.
says, I don't know. The article I'm reading includes guinea pigs and horses. Whoa.
I don't want. I'm all for animals being happy, and getting what they need from a nutritional standpoint, but feels like there's other ways to simulate it.
And like that even makes sense, right? Like they want,
like
the
guy,
animal wants to hunt, so
what's his
let
name?
it quote unquote hunt.
Who fed the mouse to the snake in Old School?
Tom Green.
Tom Green, yeah.
Yeah, like in Connor, I know you're not familiar with this, but there's a movie called Jurassic Park where they let a live goat into the T-Rex paddock, and they
rip it up.
Like, oh, the T-Rex wants to hunt because he's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah,
big bleeping dinosaur.
Yeah, but nobody had any emotional attachment to the goat.
Well, one vegetarian did.
Ooh. Yeah, I would imagine so. That's about where the line is. We missed the story about Sydney Sweeney on this. We'll get there tomorrow.
I guess we can.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, noon hour, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. They're showing some highlights from the Speedway Classic.
Look at that.
Before it got rained out. Now, why didn't I know it's a one game thing. Why didn't they just make the whole field? I don't think it would have helped, but why didn't they make the whole field turf? Why didn't they just turf it?
Great question.
It's a one game I mean, is it easier? I guess is it less expensive to just do a grass field for one game? It's so odd to me. But yes, Mother Nature did not cooperate on Saturday night in Bristol, Tennessee.
Oh, but Eli White cooperated. Look at that.
I'd say that I'll say this: the visuals were awesome, unless you were sitting somewhere in the region behind home plate.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't imagine in the stadium had a lot of great views.
No, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
And I saw Blooper running around the racetrack a lot.
That's right. That's what he does.
They could have had the race grow. Why didn't they just have the race going? They didn't have some cars running around the entire race.
Well, I guess there probably could have been a crash that would have
probably would have done some damage. Probably would have done some damage.
Taken out Ellie De La Cruz or something.
That would have not been good.
No.
We'll talk about the Fire Fest of baseball a little bit later on today.
It's not what it was.
That's what people are saying, Josh.
Idiots.
But before we do anything else, hold the phones.
What you got over? You got a little breaking news over there?
Well, I was told that conference realignment was dead. And then a couple weeks ago, somebody was like, yeah, if people wanted to leave the ACC, North Carolina would do that. And I was like, okay, we're really hunting here. How about bowling conference realignment?
Oh,
that's right. The University of Nebraska.
Some would say a powerhouse.
A powerhouse. Yes. One of the biggest brands in the sport of bowling.
That's right.
Has announced that it will join Conference USA.
USA.
Effective right now. 25-26, right? That's now.
That's right.
They are joining Conference USA as an affiliate member along with Wright State and Sacred Heart, which creates a now 12-team bowling league.
A mega conference.
It's a 12-team bowling mega conference. Nebraska, Sacred Heart, Wright State, and Arkansas State, Jacksonville State, Louisiana Tech, Sam Houston, Tulane, Valparaiso, Vanderbilt, Wichita State, and Youngstown State. Troy Dannon, in a statement, we are excited to have the Nebraska Bowling join Conference USA as an affiliate member. The move aligns with our department's philosophy of putting our programs in the best position to compete for success at the national level. In 2 seasons, Conference USA has become the premier conference in college bowling. And the additions of Nebraska along with Sacred Heart and Wright State only make it stronger. This will provide our student athletes with a championship level event prior to the NCAA championships. And we have a long history of success with bowling. We know Coach Klempa and his team are looking forward to the opportunity to compete for conference championships for the first time in school history. That's right. Nebraska had been an independent since they elevated bowling to a varsity sport in 1997, 1998. And now they will test themselves against the best. They are not running for competition. Some teams and some conferences and some people are. Not Nebraska bowling.
So
we want to be the best.
Before the postseason tournament in bowling last year.
Yep.
The top 5 included Wichita State, Vanderbilt, Youngstown State, who won the national championship.
GOAT.
Jacksonville State, are they in Conference USA?
Yes, they are in this giant conference.
And Nebraska. So 4 of the top 5 teams were Conference USA.
Now, Josh, the question is, I don't know how many bowling programs there are in the country. Probably not many more than that.
92.
Okay. That's not bad.
And they're all ranked on the NCAA website for some reason.
So 12 out of 92. What's that as a percentage?
Someone smarter than me will have to figure that out.
Well, a calculator could do the trick. 13% of the entire sport is in the Conference USA. So if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and you got to play against the best. And Nebraska bowling ain't running from nothing. Many teams are these days. Many programs, many schools, many coaches, many athletic directors. They say, move us away from the competition as quickly as we could possibly get. We want to play a bunch of nobodies. Not Nebraska bowling. Not Paul Klempa. Not Paul Klempa.
What a move.
8
Power
national
move.
championships and 6 NCAA titles since women's bowling became an NCAA championship sport in 2004. Nebraska's finished first or second 10 times in 21 all-time NCAA championships and are the only program to compete in every single NCAA championship. Nebraska's had 9 bowlers combined for 12 National Bowlers of the Year since 2000. Recently, Jillian Martin last year, while 34 bowlers have combined to earn 74 All-America awards since 1998. Can you believe it?
Meanwhile,
This
Matt
is a
McMaster is bowling an 84.
This is a ground-shifting move.
Yeah.
A ground-shifting move.
Now you gotta talk to your people down there in Lincoln.
What? About what?
If you're gonna put out a press release and a statement and this, you got to get that 25-26 bowling schedule on the website. I got last year's schedule.
Well,
that's the best I can do.
That's not up to them. That's up to the Conference USA. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you got to deal with being in Conference USA. They have a whole selection release show. It's on Conference USA TV coming up, and they can't spoil that.
Do you even watch Coosa TV?
Yeah. Mustache Adam writes in.
My mustache.
Poll question: is Conference USA the SEC of bowling?
I think so.
It certainly seems that way. So there you go. That's the story. And as Mitch Sherman points out on Twitter, get ready because that Conference USA flag is going to be flying.
Whoa.
Loud and proud at somewhere. I'm sure they'll have to do it somewhere. Or there'll at least be a big banner inside the East Campus.
The Sun Valley Lanes or whatever.
I think they bowl at the East Campus Union.
Oh.
I think that unless they do their competition bowling over at Sun Valley Lanes, which they might, I don't know. But they previously weren't in a conference before. This is just like Notre Dame joining the Big Ten. It would be just like that.
This is what it would feel like.
This is what it would feel like. I mean, the Conference USA is thinking, yeah, we got it now. We got him now. Baymon writes in.
Hi, Baymon.
Mark the date on your calendar for the date that collegiate bowling changed forever. Great question from Charles. Do they have a tunnel walk? I don't know.
They better.
I don't know. But shout out to Coach Klempa. John writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
Maybe Coach Klempa can have a talk with Coach Rhule about not being a coward.
Whoa.
Not avoiding tough competition and actually winning.
Nobody said.
That's what John said.
Yeah.
That's what John said. We got to make John's basically evil John these days. He's going all in on Coach Rhule and Turner Corcoran. That's what he does. Scott Springer from the Cincinnati Enquirer will join us here in about 15 minutes. We'll talk about the Bearcats of Cincinnati. What's going on in the Big 12? Nobody knows.
That's where Cincinnati plays.
That's true. That is a weird conference, and nobody knows who's going to win it. But nobody thinks Cincinnati is going to win it.
Well, they don't poll their coaches beforehand.
Yes, because that would be offensive to somebody.
It would be embarrassing if they didn't get it right.
Yeah, if they just got them wrong, like every other preseason poll that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Super weird. But we'll talk about the Bearcats coming up here in about 15 minutes as we begin our summer series. Put this in the I thought everyone knew this category. Every once in a while, something comes up on Twitter and it's like, wow, can you believe that Dana Holgorsen dropped, not specifically Dana Holgorsen, but in this case, Dana Holgorsen is our main character. Can you believe he dropped this nugget on the BTN show? I gotta renew this, but here's Dana Holgorsen with Jake Butt and Dave Rebson on Friday.
Unusual is an understatement. That hasn't happened ever. It's truly the hardest thing that I've ever done in 32 years of coaching, and so just grateful for Coach Rhule to bring me up here. I came up, when I got let go in December, I came up a couple weeks later and tried to get me to be the OC for the entire 2024 year, and I just wasn't ready. It wouldn't have been fair to me, my family. It wouldn't have been fair to Coach Rhule and his, Husker family. Just wasn't ready, and been doing it for a long time and needed a break, and took one. Watched every Husker game every Saturday and followed them the entire season, and towards towards the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th game, somewhere in there, had a feeling that call was coming, and he did. And so I was like, you think that much about, me to be able to call me and come up here to help? Absolutely. I come to help. Had no idea what that was going to look like, and we was on a bye week and was going to play USC 2 weeks later, and took me about 5 days to agree to, step in and be the OC and call the plays. And a week later, I was in the Coliseum calling plays against USC, so that was wild. Made the decision after Iowa that this is where I wanted to be. And what I saw when I first got here was a lot of cluttered minds. They just weren't playing free. They weren't playing fast because it was a big playbook. They had everything in, and it's just hard in the college game to be able to do that. I took the entire spring semester and with basically the same staff, and we added players and we fine-tuned what we wanted to do. And what I'm looking at right now is a lot different. It's a lot different schematically. It's a lot different with players, and it's flowing a lot better as well.
That's Dana Holgorsen, Nebraska's offensive coordinator. I thought the most intriguing part of that answer was about how they, simplified things for those guys. Like that was immediately his first reaction last year when he took over. He's like, whoa, we are doing way too much here. What is going on? Let's simplify some things. We are way in our own heads right now. Like things are just deteriorating rapidly. But I guess, I don't know. I guess people heard that and they were like, whoa, he was going to be the offensive coordinator to start the year last year? That would have been crazy. I thought we already knew that.
He went to that wrestling meet.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a wrestling meet, right? Or was it a basketball?
No, it was a wrestling meet. Yeah. I thought we already knew all that.
But I thought so too.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
I know very little, and I knew that.
All right. We all knew that. I already knew that. I know it's hard. We got to, there's not very much new information these days, but yes, Dana Holgorsen, the idea was for him to be the offensive coordinator at the start of last year, but I think it worked out. I mean,
still took him 5 days to get talked into it.
Okay. Maybe that was the most revealing part of the answer that he gave there.
You were going to do it preseason.
Well, I think
you had watched the team and said that phone's going to ring. And then it rang.
I think what he was talking about was they had to figure out how much money he was going to actually get paid from Nebraska because he was still living off that sweet Houston buyout money.
Oh, yeah.
And still
the dream.
Is. Yeah, right. So, Nebraska, just everything they pay him just kind of offsets with it. But yeah. Not surprising. Not surprising. And good on Matt Rhule to identify, we probably needed that to happen at the beginning of last season. But like I said, I mean, don't you think it kind of worked out? As long as Dylan Raiola didn't get broken beyond repair, which I don't think happened, because clearly he was better at the end of last year when Holgorsen took over.
Probably would have came out on Saturday.
And unless he was broken last year beyond repair, then I think it worked out for everybody. Holgo got his time off, he got his vacations in. He went, remember he took the super long trip and did whatever he wanted to do for a long period of time. Sick. Awesome. You run the offense because you know how to do this. This is great. I can't, there is not one thing that makes me more excited this year about Nebraska football than Dana Holgorsen calling the offense. It's so awesome. We have to recenter and focus ourselves on this every once in a while. Nebraska's offensive coordinator is Dana Holgorsen. This is the best.
He looks so disheveled.
I don't care. I don't care what he looks like. He can take as many vacations as he wants.
Oh, yeah.
He can drink as many Red Bulls as he wants. He can smoke as many cigarettes as he wants to. I don't know if he smokes cigarettes, but if he wants to, he can, because that guy is a hell of an offensive coordinator. He's going to call an awesome game. He's going to work with Nebraska's players and develop them. I think he's got players, right? Dylan's good. The wide receivers are better. The offensive line, I think, as we talked about earlier, is there. And I think that's a pretty good unit. So I think he's got some stuff to work with, which is enticing to me and I'm sure him as well. But dude, you've got one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. And it's not like we have to talk ourselves into it. There's evidence. There's hard hard evidence, Josh. Nebraska has one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. That's one of the only things on the entire staff or the team or what, like the facilities, like everything about the program. What can you say that Nebraska has one of the best of in the country? For me, the answer is offensive coordinator. That's awesome. That's a really big thing. They do. They're one of the best in the country.
And he doesn't want to be a head coach, seemingly.
Not at the moment.
Right.
Not at the moment.
You may get that itch again.
I think it'll be probably a year.
He seems like
I think it'll be a year by year deal with him, like just constant evaluation on, what's going on. But like right now, in Dylan Raiola's college prime, he's past his freshman year. He's got some guys around him, and you have one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. Like, I don't know what they're going to do on they could be explosive as they want to be on offense. They could, do whatever they please. Like, they'll make it work with the whole picture. And Dana's talked about that before. But Nebraska is going to be efficient on offense. There is no doubt about it. They are going to be efficient on offense. They were super inefficient for the last 2 years.
Shocking.
It will be better overnight. It was better overnight last year when he took over. He didn't even know anybody's name. He didn't know who anybody was. And just by the fact that he was calling the game, which is a chunk of it, but it's not the whole picture, right? Just calling the game made a significant and noticeable difference instantaneously last year. And he was here for 5 days. And I watched the games. I watch all the Husker games. He probably watched it one time while he was drinking beer. He was working as an analyst. He's just hanging out. He's watching the games from his house. He came in and instantly it was better and more clean. And now they have a whole 6 months and 5 more games underneath their belt, and everybody else around him is better. Yeah, it's going to be good. I have no doubt about it. That's my case.
I would love to push back on anything you just said.
Thank you.
But I can't.
D'Lo writes in. Here's a pushback. 10 points against Iowa. They did only score 10 points against Iowa.
That's not a lot, Connor.
I'll add, D'Lo, it was cold. Like really cold.
It was a night.
It was a night game. It was very cold. That's an excuse. But it was cold. And Isaiah Nair should have caught that pass and scored. He'd still be running. That's what people are saying. He would.
That'd be a long run.
He'd be running for, it'd be like Forrest Gump in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm pretty, if you can't tell, I'm pretty convinced.
No, yeah, you seem very confident.
I don't know.
I don't know
how you couldn't be. Like, we have documented, there's documented success. This will work. He is good at this. And it's not just like, he was
good at it there, he'll be good at it here.
Right.
We've seen it here.
It's not, and it's also not like, he was good at doing the air raid. No, he's been good at, his offenses are always good, point blank period. It doesn't matter the personnel that they have. He gets good quarterback play and he has good offenses. It works. Right? To what level, that's up to the players to decide. How good will Dylan be? How good will the wide receivers be? How good will the run game be? How clean can they make it as far as the operational piece is concerned, right? How good is the defense to be able to help out the offense and get them more possessions and stuff like that? Like that, the ceiling is up to them, but it ain't going to be the 90th best offense in the country. Those days are over, my friend. Those days are over.
And it might not be like 42 points a game but it will be improved.
No. Nebraska has one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. And they definitely have, as D'Lo mentions again, like they have their best offensive coordinator post Tom Osborne. I don't even have to really think about it. They've had some pretty good offenses, but yeah, I mean, it's just a proven track record, man. Like we've had to convince ourselves on basically every single one of those guys post that. And there's been a lot of them, and some of it's worked and some of it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to really convince myself on this one. Nope. No, I don't. There you go. There's your Dana Holgorsen Kool-Aid for the day. And yeah, we already knew that that they were going to try and make him the offensive coordinator before last year. It just didn't work out. But it worked out for everybody after, after everything kind of changed in the offseason. John writes in.
Hi, John.
I remember when Connor was convinced.
Oh, no.
That now, hang on.
I know where this is going.
Well, you thought he was going to say something about Jeff Sims.
I did, yes.
Wrong.
I'm sorry. Was I wrong?
He says,
I apologize.
He was convinced that I don't know if this is completely true. Remember when Connor was convinced that Satterfield was going to be a good offensive coordinator? And then he says, with that being said, I actually think he might be right this time. That he's going to be good. Yeah, look, I guess it's just, I mean, you can convince yourself of anything if you don't have a lot of information to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
And we had his time at South Carolina as the OC, which admittedly did not end up very well. And you could convince yourself, oh, okay, well, they'll have the players and they'll be able to run it and this and this and this. Yes, anyone can convince themselves of that. Were we a little bit out? Was I maybe a little bit out over our skis on Satterfield and just how, complicated, I guess it was and what they were trying to do? Sure. But yeah, this one I feel good about because you got some history. That's all. All right, coming up next, Nebraska's, what do they say, Josh? You can't go undefeated without starting 1-0.
That is what they say.
Well, in order for Nebraska to go 1-0, they have to beat Cincinnati in just a few short weeks. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks from now, we'll be warning our friends to stock up at the Platte City QT.
They're not ready.
They aren't, but we'll place that call. Don't worry about it. So coming up next, we'll talk about the Bearcats. Scott Springer of the Cincinnati Enquirer will join us as we kick off our summer preview series coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Hudson with you. So maybe we have a little bit of a snafu here, but we'll try and get caught up with Scott Springer. It's kind of confusing. So Scott Springer from the Cincinnati Enquirer, he will be our guest for Cincinnati in summer school. Oh, and we'll do that now. All right, let's do it. As we welcome in Scott on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline as we speak. Scott, thanks for doing this. Thanks for jumping on. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. So am I right in saying that there doesn't seem to be a consensus on what year 3 will look like for Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati in 2025?
Yeah, I would say not really. It's kind of confusing, in year 3, everyone's expected to be better. And I think they're for sure better. Just got done watching practice. They look a lot better. They're taller, faster, all that type thing. But, they're going against one another. So it's a matter of can you mix all these new portal guys and your new freshmen and all that into a team that can come out and compete against a very good team who has a coach who historically does really good in year 3. So right now, I think they're better. I expect them to compete in the game. I don't know if they can win it or not. Wouldn't shock me, but on the other hand, I think it's that's a big ask to go against, a Big Ten team in Kansas City where everyone's going to have red on here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's an interesting matchup. It's on TV. I don't think it makes the season for either team or screws up the season for either team.
What's been the difficulty so far for Scott Satterfield going? I mean, they're coming off of a playoff appearance. Luke Fickell won a lot, and then there's this sort of steep drop off. What's been the difficulty so far for getting this thing off the ground for him?
Well, they entered the Big 12 a year earlier than expected, so they were Big 12 ready in terms of a lot of things, but in terms of talent, they weren't quite there, and I think they noticed it right away in the first season. It's like, hey, we need some bigger dudes, we need some faster dudes, we need more dudes, and the first season didn't quite go their way. Although I'll tell you, it was a 3-9 season that very easily could have been a 6-win season or more. They had about 5 games that were settled, 7 points or less. And then you get to last year where they obviously look better. They have a better quarterback. They start 5-2. Really should have been 6-1. Gave one away to Pitt early in the season, but then couldn't get that extra win to get to a bowl game and make the next step, much like Nebraska did in the Pinstripe Bowl. So the 2 teams are on similar tracks. I don't know if that's a fair comparison or not, but I think all expectations are for this team to be better. At the very minimum, get a bowl game. And I think the fan base is going to want, 7, maybe 8 wins to be comfortable. Now, in a lot of places, 7 or 8 will get you fired, but
right
here they're a little bit more demanding.
Well, it's fascinating looking around and putting it in context, Scott, with the rest of the Big 12. I mean, it's just it's a big jumble. And then, of course, you have everybody using the example of, well, Arizona State, nobody thought much of them last year. They won the conference and they ended up in the college football playoff and making some noise there. Like, I don't know that anybody is dreaming that big. Maybe they are, but when you look around at sort of the jumbled nature of the Big 12, you got to think that Cincinnati's got to think that there's some room to make some noise if things break the right way. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, they say that they were pointing toward this year in terms of the talent and everything that they got, and they had a really good year in the portal getting guys. And quite honestly, there's a lot of pressure in big boy football, so Power 4 football. And if the coach hasn't got to a bowl game in year 3, the pressure comes on. It's just the nature of the beast. The 5-year plans are out the door, and you best get it done in 2 and 3 tops. So I think they have a team that's going to look a lot better. I think the schedule's interesting. They still have 7 home games in addition to the game with Nebraska at Arrowhead. So they miss a lot of people. They miss Arizona State this year on the schedule, although they did beat them last year. And they miss Kansas State. That's another team. I know the USA Today coaches poll just came out today, and
Arizona State's 11th and Kansas State's 20th. And they do play Iowa State, who's 21. They miss BYU, who's 23, and they miss Texas Tech, who's 24. Now, how accurate is that? I don't know. I mean, I've had to vote preseason polls, and I'm never comfortable doing it. But it's just something that you have to do. You know, whatever gets you a click or two, you go at it.
It could be hard. I think it would be especially difficult for this league, which is maybe part of the reason why they did away with their preseason poll from the conference in general.
Well, I had an AP vote for a while, and man, that was interesting. The fan bases, they come after you hard if you don't put them in or you drop them down. I've had some people, it's like you look at their Twitter bios and it tells you what a great citizen or Christian that they are, and then they send you a nasty email. It's like, well, I don't know what book you're reading there, but that's not in mine. But that's part of the, criticism is part of it. So, and fan bases they're fanatical, as they tell me.
No doubt. From a personnel standpoint, Brandon Sorsby he's proven himself as a pretty good quarterback now. What's the next step look like for him going into his fourth year of college football?
Maybe a little better decision making, but really, if you look at what he's done, even before he got here at Indiana, he threw 15 touchdowns with only 5 picks. Last year, he had 18 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions, and some of those came late. Had a terrible game against West Virginia where just some mistakes just handed them the game. And, there were a lot of games where Cincinnati's outgained their opponents dramatically, and things like that cost them the game. So I think he's matured. He certainly has the team behind him. He's the leader. He looks better than ever. They, redistributed his body in terms of the weight room and all that. And so he looks the part. They've got better receivers, in my opinion, faster receivers. They do have a new running back, but he's the guy that was in the Big Ten. Actually, he played against Nebraska. Yep. Talia Walker was with Wisconsin last year, and before that, actually played a game here when he was part of the Oklahoma Sooners. So he looks pretty decent. He's faster than people think. Some true trunk legs, and Evan Pryor's a guy that was here from Ohio State, played here last year, kind of a home run threat. So I think they're all right in the running game, the passing game, and defensively, the linebackers and defensive line, I think, are looking pretty decent. But the question would be the secondary, where, they had a coaching change last year. And so they brought in some new guys who have done it at other places, but they haven't done it here. So, and I would imagine August 28th is a pretty good test against Mr. Raiola.
You mentioned the running backs. What's that split and the roles look like between, I assume we're just looking at specifically those two guys. You mentioned him Pryor and then Tawi Walker, the transfer from Wisconsin. What's that look like in the early going, and what do you expect it to look like in 3 weeks?
It looks to me like Walker's the starter, and Pryor will get in for some plays, much like last year, similar to last year. They had Corey Kiner last year, who was a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher. And Walker looks more the part, maybe more durable. Not a knock against Pryor, just two totally different runners. And then there's some guys that Chance Williams was a transfer from Grambling State. He didn't get a whole lot of time last year and then was injured. And some guys behind him that played good in spurts. Manny Covey got in against Texas Tech when Kiner was hurt, scored a couple touchdowns, mainly on pass plays, but they were like short pass plays that turned into, long gain touchdowns. So, and these are guys that have been here a couple of years, so they're ready for their chance.
Defensively, what are we expecting? I mean, there's a bunch of turnover. I mean, you mentioned the wide receivers before, turnover there. But let's talk about the defensive side where there is some more additions I think that people are excited about over on that side. What do you expect the defense to look like as we go into 25 here?
Well, Dante Corleone is back, and he's healthy. Last year he had a blood clot issue in his lungs, and they had to hold him back, and he couldn't practice and didn't play to the second game. But he's had a nice winter and a nice summer and all that, and he's ready to get after it. And this is a guy that's probably going to the NFL when he's done. He's unique. He's 6'1" and 330, and so not terribly tall, not the great wingspan, but just a block of a human that's tough to move. And then you got a couple guys that would have started last year on the defensive line that were injured, and they had terrible injuries on the defensive line, so they missed a lot of guys that are now back. And so that's looking promising. The linebackers are pretty strong. You get 3 starters back. Jake Goldie, transfer from Central Arkansas, played last year. He did make the freak list. I guess the athletic guy puts out the freak list. So Cincinnati had Coleon, Jeff Caldwell, who's the receiver from Lindenwood, but a 6'5" guy that can go get the ball. And then Jake Goldie, who's 6'4", 240, and runs very fast and makes people hurt on tackle. So he's back. Jack Dingle's another guy just like him. Jonathan Thompson, another starter. And then they got some young guys behind them, Monte Whedon, Simeon Coleman. There's 6-7 linebackers they can throw in. And then in the secondary, Matthew McDoom out of Coastal Carolina is a nice pickup that they got. Really fast. They wear these catapult things, which, for lack of a better term, they look like a sports bra, but they can time them, and he's gotten up to 23 miles an hour, which I think if you do the math on that, that's like a sub 4.340. So he can move. Hopefully he's getting in front of the ball and not chasing somebody that got past him.
Right. Go ahead, finish that thought.
Well, and they got Christian Harrison out of Tennessee, a couple guys that have been here, Logan Wilson, there's Xavier Williams, an interesting one in the secondary, former quarterback at UCF and at Middle Tennessee State, but now in the secondary. So, like I said, they're guys that Cincinnati people don't know a whole bunch about, and that's the way college football's come. You get a whole new roster in every year, and let's see how they do.
All right, Scott. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate it. And we're looking forward to the game here in just a couple weeks.
I'm sure it'll be very crowded, and most will have red on, but Cincinnati does have red in their shirts. It's just you won't see many of them. I would say a heavy Husker crowd, but I don't know who's going to make the game. But it's an interesting game. It's just like a few years back they had a game against UCLA at the Rose Bowl, and no one thought Cincinnati was any good, and that's what started Luke Fickell's run. So who knows? We're going to find out here in a few weeks, though.
All right, Scott. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, Scott Springer. You can check him out, the Cincinnati Enquirer. Yeah, I don't even want to ask about the whole, there's going to be 65,000 Nebraska fans. I mean, it's just, there's no.
At your home game.
That won't matter at all.
Right.
That won't be on the minds of anybody.
Hey, this is our home game.
Except for, I guess if it's a Cincinnati home game, I suppose Nebraska will wear white.
I would think.
Okay. So there you go. So maybe Husker fans will wear white. I don't know. Probably not. They'll be wearing red because that's everybody's tradition. It's fascinating. So SP Plus, Bill Connolly's SP Plus had them last in the Big 12 this year. Cincinnati.
Oh.
Dead last. But there's just no gap. I think you could probably separate out K-State, Arizona State, BYU, Texas Tech, but even that gets murky. And then there's just anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could happen in that league. And so, I don't know, you might be selling yourself short if you're just saying, hey, I think they can maybe get to 6. Obviously, that's a big barrier that they want to push through because under Scott Satterfield in the first 2 years, 3-9 and 5-7. But he mentioned the transition from the Big 12. They went out and got a lot of kind of FCS group of 5 type of transfers, but they have a returning quarterback who's been super productive. They have a really good tight end, Joe Royer, who we didn't even talk about. And they improved their wide receiver room, a transfer from the Big Ten at running back who Nebraska has seen before, and Tawi Walker. There's some guys there. And so, you could make the case that they end up 4-8, or you can make the case that they end up 8-4. I think there's just going to be a lot of close games for them this year. So I don't think Nebraska has a pushover here in game 1.
Definitely not.
But it's a game that they'll be favorites in, and they'll have the crowd on their side and should be able to take care of business. But this is a halfway decent football team.
And going on the macro, like Scott opened the conversation with, they have to like their schedule this year.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So here it is. They go to Kansas. So multiple trips to the Kansas City area. Iowa State at home, UCF at home. Gosh, I don't know what they're going to – I don't think they're going to be any good. Oklahoma State wasn't any good last year. Baylor is the middle of the pack. That's kind of what you would expect there. Utah probably takes a step back off of what they have been. Arizona, do they get a year better? After kind of jumbling it together last year, I know they got a couple of good players. What's BYU do without a quarterback or going to the next quarterback? By the way, that quarterback is at Baylor, right? Is that where Retzloff ended up?
What? No, Tulane, right?
Tulane. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I apologize. So no Retzloff there. And then, TCU, I mean, it's just a jumble.
Yeah.
That conference is so odd. You could get anything out of that. That's what produces Arizona State going to the playoff last year. And they were really good. I don't think there's Cam Skattebo on this team, but nobody knew who that was going into last year either. So you could, depending on your perspective, I mean, you could be either pretty excited about any team in the Big 12 or pretty I don't know what this is. Let's take a break. We'll finish out the noon hour coming up on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost
All right. Now, this is one of the things that we talk about, and I'll probably get some feedback at the end of the show because I don't admittedly, I'm admitting on the front end that I don't know the whole picture here. And I don't know. All right. I'm going off of how it's been covered. And shout out to our guy, Mike Patterson from the World Herald for being all over this in the weekend. But have you heard anything about the things that occurred or did not occur surrounding Nebraska Legion baseball this weekend, Josh?
Yeah. I don't know a lot of the details. I barely know the broad stroke, but
All
it
right.
sounds interesting.
So how it works is in Legion ball at the end of the season, they have, I think, 7 or 8 area tournaments, quote unquote. They're basically act as the district tournaments.
Okay.
And then the first and the second place teams in those area tournaments go to one of 2 state tournaments. So there's a American Division state tournament and a National Division state tournament. There's 2 state tournaments. And then at the end, the National and American state tournament champions will play each other for the Nebraska state title game, basically.
AL meets NL in the World Series.
But both of those teams who are representing Nebraska will go off to a regional tournament, a central, and then the winner of the regional tournaments get on to the American Legion World Series, which happens in North Carolina at the end of the month. Just so you have a picture of kind of how it works. All right. So forgive me to the sponsors. American Legion teams, they generally are made up of kids who played on the high school spring ball teams. Then they just get a sponsor for the summer. And so they're all sorts of different
Hey,
things.
we're Larry's Car Wash.
Yeah.
Well, you're all the kids from one particular school.
I am not going to mention the sponsors' names in these.
Thank you.
Just to keep it straight in our heads. Okay. I feel like naming them by the school makes it easier to comprehend, makes it easier to understand. So Lincoln Southwest won the American division of the Legion State Tournament on
Congrats.
Wednesday night. They beat Papio South 4-1 in the final. Then after the game, Papio South, somebody from Papio South filed a protest with the Legion that Lincoln Southwest had used an ineligible player. The National Legion Board agreed, disqualifying Lincoln Southwest and costing the team its first trip to the regional since 2006. Then, after that was all wrapped up, they disqualified Lincoln Southwest. Then, a couple days later, it was going to be Papio South that was then going to represent be one of the 2 teams that represented Nebraska in the Central Plains Regional.
Sure.
They informed the Legion officials that it didn't have enough players to compete in the Central Plains Regional because their whole team, after waiting through this appeal process, it had taken a few days to get back. And by that time, the players' families had decided that they were going to go on vacation.
Tight windows when you're playing
family vacation. We are
baseball
not
for a
going
living
to upend family vacation just on a whim that we might end up going to regionals. So they were like, we're keeping the vacations, and they were going to keep their vacations. And so then Papio South realized that it could not represent Nebraska at the Central Region State Regional Tournament. Then Elkhorn North, and I will mention their sponsor, Equitable Bank.
Oh, what a fine sponsor.
Elkhorn North would be up as the next team that would fill that second regional slot. And they were the team that finished second to Lincoln East in the other state tournament.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
they will be taking the spot, and they will be joining Lincoln East in Fargo. But this wiped out this whole state tournament national champion, state tournament game it was supposed to be Lincoln versus Lincoln. It was in Lincoln, and it was going to be this big thing for Lincoln. Like, it would have, a lot of people would have gone,
Sure.
and it ended up not happening because the protest originally by Papio South, who was like, hey, they had an ineligible player. Apparently it falls under the rule of the player had played competitively for another team, not another Legion team, but another, they have traveling prospect league teams. And you can't do that in the same summer in which you're going to play for, which it doesn't get protested unless they're the team who wins. Right. So, they get called out on it, and there you go. And sounds like a bad deal all around for basically everybody in this situation.
The term bleep show came up quite a few times.
Yes. Now, Mike Patterson from the World Herald, he talked with a couple representatives from the American Legion, and basically the idea was like, hey, this kind of happens where there's a guy who plays on multiple teams, but it never really gets called out. It never really gets protested. In this case, it was high profile because they had won the actual game. And then the team that protested, and therefore the beneficiary of the protest, was not able to actually do the thing that the reward that the protest gave. So that you might be asking why? Why did they do this?
What was it all for?
I don't have the answer to that question, Josh. I don't have the answer to that question. I'm not sure why.
Attention, moms and dads, if you just wait 5 to 7 business days, we'll get a ruling on this, and then we can go play.
I think
we're good, coach.
It's I will say this, from understanding how high school baseball kind of works. I think it's probably a difficult time for Legion ball right now, just because there's just a lot of good players around here, and they all want to get noticed, right? So they want to play college ball. And a lot of where the easiest way to get recognized is to be on one of these summer traveling prospect teams where you're going to places where there are scouts and coaches. It's difficult for those coaches, although you can do so, especially if you're local and you make the effort in doing so, to show up at Legion games and get a really good picture of what the player is all about. Maybe they're not pitching that day, or maybe they're not playing, whatever it might. Maybe they are gone because they're on family vacation or something like that. Now, obviously, you make contact with the player, but I think Legion ball is probably in a little bit of a tricky spot at the moment, and so to have this is pretty. I would imagine it's pretty disappointing. The Legion representative said a lot of people were looking forward to that, the Lincoln versus Lincoln game. It was going to be at Den Hartog Field in Lincoln. Omaha teams have dominated for so long. So for two Lincoln teams to have been playing was something that was a really big deal. I've never seen anything like this in the 20 years I've been on the job.
Well,
I think there have been some hard lessons learned, and it will help us avoid something like this in the future. So yeah. That's what I know.
A lot of people asking if Papio South plays any of these teams in football this fall. They do not.
Could be some interesting conversations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan on the Twitter machine.
Hi, Alan on the Twitter machine.
So what we learned is Papio South are some snitches.
That's what Alan said.
That's
said not what Connor said.
Many people like Alan have said that. I don't know. Boy, I'd like to hear the plan on the front end from Papio South.
Let's take a break, Josh.
Okay.
Now you guys got that's just we're covering the local stories.
We report the news.
So that's what this show is known for, reporting and news. Sam McKewon joins us on the other side on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Sam McKewon is the newsman. Sam McKewon, Omaha World Herald. On the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Quickly before we bring in Sam here, just a note to pass along. The Division I men's and women's basketball committees met this week, and they have broken that meeting. And out of it comes this: nothing. There will be no expansion of the NCAA basketball tournament for this year. There was much discussion, and it is still on the table for 26, 27, and beyond, but not for 2026. 68 teams it is for the NCAA basketball tournament. As we're now joined on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, thanks for joining as always. What's going on?
Not much, man. It's just a Monday in early August. How are you?
Yeah, we're about to hit the we were trying to pinpoint the exact day it'll be earlier on in the show. When will someone say, and we're getting to the dog days of camp and we need to start hitting other teams? Will that be this week or next week?
Talking about other teams or oh yeah. Oh yes. I know what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll probably be at the end of this week. They're sick of hitting each other. That'll probably come on Saturday. And the good news is Nebraska's got, they've got a game in 24 days. And by then it'll be, fewer than 3 weeks. So they'll be ready to go. I mean, I don't question this team's want to and all of that. I think it's just going to be, they got to get out there and kind of start doing the stuff that needs to be done. If that makes any sense.
I like what Rhule said about, he was asked about the transfers specifically and how those guys have sort of, shown up from a football perspective in throughout the first week here. And he sort of made the case that those guys have kind of had to, assimilate a little bit more to what Nebraska has been doing. You and I can both think back of times where those guys come in and they're the ones kind of setting the standard. That's been the case a little bit around here. It doesn't feel like that's the case. Now, what do you think that says about this group and specifically those players that they got out of the transfer portal?
Oh, he's created a culture. I mean, he's done a good job of creating a culture at this place that everybody's kind of on board. And you can have your own personality. I mean, Ja'Cory Barney's certainly got a personality. I mean, he's saying all kinds of stuff. but you have to kind of sign off and check off on the things that Rhule really believes in, and that usually means a certain kind of guy. It doesn't mean that a guy can't be confident or cocky, but just a guy that understands that everybody's going to move in the same direction on a few issues. And so I think when they go out and look for transfers, they go look for guys that are ready for that. Now, not everybody's a fit. Harley Gilmore was not a fit. That's why he's not here. So I think for the most part, though, they've got most of the guys in the room that they want to have in the room, and they feel good about where they're at. They took a lot of transfers this year, and that was notable. I think there's an understanding that they want to get good, and they want to be good this year, and they probably felt like they needed to go out and get some of those guys in order to kind of get across the line, so to speak. Deshaun McCullough is not your starting jack linebacker. Well, it's probably Willis McGahee or Jordan Ochoa. And Ochoa's barely played. McGahee's played some. So you can understand why they went out and got some players to kind of plug in and play right away. But at the same time, the future of the program's bright. So the young guys that are coming up, they won't need as many transfers in coming years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think. They needed them this year, in my opinion. You went and saw them go out and get them. But I think going forward they're going to be in pretty good shape from a roster perspective.
I was thinking, I know I brought this up. So if you've been listening to the show the entire time, yeah, I brought this up with Schaefer earlier as well. But like those second year guys, I mean, who all have some playing time underneath them. Rhule obviously included in that group. Ja'Cory Barney, and then like Shavers and McGahee on defense. I mean, I guess you could even throw Van Poppel into that category, even though he's a third year guy. Carter Nelson on offense, like that is that's a really good core, and that's their core. It's right. Would you categorize it that way as opposed to no, it's you need to get a lot from the transfer guys. I think they need to get a lot from those guys, and it feels like they will.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-year conversation, Connor, about the upside of this deal. I do think they're going to get better this year. I do think they're going to be a lot better, actually, in part because some of the young guys who have been in the program are going to get better, and they'll push some of the older guys. I thought last year's team was sort of a bunch, 20 really old guys and then a lot of young guys, and then there wasn't a lot of necessarily meat in between. Now, the guys that were sort of in between last year, they've developed another year, and then you brought in more old guys, and then the young guys aren't so young. And so, yeah, by next year, I think you'll see that all sort of blossom, so to speak. They'll be a little bit further ahead. Now, this is the offensive line, though. This is the offensive line that I think everybody's looking around and saying, yeah, this needs to be the group.
Yep.
So they got to run the ball with this group of linemen, and they should be able to protect Rhule. That's important. So there's an opportunity to take a jump this season because that offensive line got better. But you'll notice that, on the defensive side, even though they've plugged in some transfers, you can tell they've got some young guys that they like too. So it's real close. The schedule's a little bit more manageable this year than my understanding of next year's schedule, although I'm going to look at it right now again. I feel like the schedule this year is palatable. I think the schedule next year is a little less palatable once you get past the non-conference games. Yeah, it's pretty dang hard next year. But I think they all know where they're going and they want to move in that direction. Now you just got to go win some football games.
Is there enough? So you mentioned how this is kind of the offensive line. If you flip that conversation over the defensive side, there's some question marks on that defensive line.
There is.
Is there enough behind them, whether it be the linebackers or the defensive backs, which I think people think is going to be the strength of the group? Is there enough behind them to make up for maybe what you might lack up front?
Maybe, I think they have that in the secondary for sure. And they have the flexibility to put, six guys from the secondary on the field in third and long situations. We heard John Butler on Saturday night going dime, dime, dime. And that's 6 DB.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard a lot of that in a couple of years. Bo used to have that back in the day when, their 2 safeties were O'Hanlon and Asante, and the corners were Prince and whoever the other corner was, Alfonso, and then Haig and Gomes were on the field. They called that a peso. It was a dime. It was a dime. And then they had a single backer, which was usually Thompson or Dillard. And then they had, of course, Sue and Crick in that front. It's hard to run that as a down by down defense unless you have the front that they had. But you can run that on third down, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11. And so they've got a 6 DB defense that they can put in where, maybe they bring Singleton and Singleton becomes basically the Haig or the Gomes. I'm going to go back and revisit that defense and kind of look at it and see what's similar or different or what they might be able to do, because that was the best dime defense Nebraska's ever had. And so they can try that. I think they've got that option in their bag. They don't have that option on first down, not unless they're playing a team that's going to go 4 and 5 wides every down. And as people recall, teams used to do that in the Big 12. Yep. That's why, Bo was able to run that defense down after down, is because teams were just they were stubborn. And they were like, we're going to stay in 4 wide. So they did. And so, I think that's the question, is what you do on first and second down, how when Michigan trots out 2 tight ends, and they're going to do that because I don't really think Michigan's got the flexibility to play a lot of spread this year. Well, how are you going to respond? Who are you putting on the field? Okay, so your fourth line, your jack linebacker down on the line of scrimmage, that was MJ Sherman, and MJ Sherman was 6'3.5", 6'4", 250, and that's a dude. Now it's McCullough, and McCullough is probably a more talented player than Sherman, especially as a pass rusher, but he's 6'5" and he's 245.
Yeah.
And so he's like Javen Wright, and I don't know what you want Javen Wright down on the line of scrimmage in that role. So you have to figure out how you're gonna approach it. There are going to be teams that basically put you in a 50 situation. There were times last year where Nebraska had a 50 defense out there, or whatever you want to call it, a bear front. I guess it was a bear front. And you've got to find answers for that. And there will be teams that make you do that. Minnesota's going to make you do that. They're going to put this 2-way guy McCoy Parrish out there at receiver, and then another receiver, and then a tight end, and then a running back, two tight ends and a running back, and they're just going to play sausage ball on you. And you have to be able to respond 4 or 5 times a season when teams choose to do that. And Nebraska had all the guys to do it last year. They had it. You know, they had a deep defensive line, and John Bullock was there, and they had some dudes. And they were actually a little weak in the secondary because some of the younger guys were not quite ready. Well, now they are, but that defensive line, there's only so much you can do there. You can sign transfers, and they've signed a few, but I just don't know if those guys are going to be the answer. It's very, very hard to play that position in the Big Ten. I think Jalen George could be a very nice addition. He hasn't practiced really yet, but it's just tough, man. And so there's variables that I want to see. There's going to be 2 games in those first 4. You're going to have Cincinnati, and they're going to probably run the quarterback. I don't know how Cincinnati wins the game unless they try to run the quarterback. And then you're going to have Michigan that's going to do what Michigan does. And so those are the 2 games I'm watching of like, okay, Nebraska's run defense is going to have to show up here. I'm not saying it won't. It probably will. But it has to, because those 2 teams are not going to just say, well, let's throw it 45 times and throw caution to the wind. They're not going to do that. They're going to stick to their game plan.
Well, at least when you have teams who are assumingly going to run the quarterback the way those 2 teams are, like it's not necessarily the, you know, like the Minnesota and Iowa of the world where they're going to run right at you and they're just trying to get really big on you. Like those teams will try and get big, but they'll get those yards, you know, from maybe a different or a more spread out place than like a Minnesota will. So it's interesting the way you sort of categorize it there, because there's not a whole lot of teams who I'm sitting here and I'm looking like, oh, they're just going to try and ram it at you, you know, the entire game, which would play to at least what we think right now is the deficiency of the defense, at least at the moment.
Right. And to be clear, when teams do that, they're not going to gain 400 yards. This is not.
No,
2012. This
slow.
is 2012 Wisconsin,
right?
You know, where they've got Melvin Gordon and Corey Clement and the greatest backs on the planet all running all over the place. But if you run for 210 and you control 35 minutes of the clock, you've done what you want to do. And so I think that's the area where, you know, we'll just have to see. And then, you know, special teams is a way that you control the game, right? So like one thing you can do is if you got a punter, and maybe Nebraska has one, but if you've got a punter, you can put a team down at the 8-yard line, and then they can't do some of the things that they may otherwise do. You don't really want to run your quarterback that much inside your own 10, because if there's an exchange issue, well, that ball gets fumbled, and all of a sudden it's a safety. Or you can't run rollout passes inside your own 10 without risking, you know, somebody coming off the edge and sacking your quarterback and stripping the ball and the ball ending up in the end zone. You can throw deep. You can throw a 5-step drop, max protect, and try to throw it to a receiver going over the top, but you can't throw, you know, your usual things usually. But you got to get the team pinned down inside the 10. And so the Nebraska struggled with that. They struggled to get that. And I tell people all the time, the difference between starting at your 20 and starting at the 7, it might only look like 13 yards, but it's a big chunk of your playbook too. Right. There's just certain things that you're not going to try if you're inside your own 10, because you cannot afford a penalty, or you can't afford a penalty and you can't afford a turnover. Whereas at the 20, you can, you know, we're going to come out, we're going to run play action pass, we're going to get 21 yards here, and then we got our whole playbook open to us. That's harder to do at the 7 because if you get sacked for a safety. So the special teams component has to help complement that defense by flipping the field and changing field position.
You wrote about the offense coming off of Saturday night and how they might have some answers here. How clean was that operation to you, and has it taken the necessary steps that you felt like they should have taken by this point?
The execution was good. Certainly the physicality was there from the offensive line and the tight ends and the receivers. I thought all that looked good. I thought the guys, you know, the running backs were not getting tackled to the ground, but I thought they ran fairly well. And looks like this is a team that should be able to run the football. I do think Cincinnati's going to have good run defense, so that'll be a test early in the season. But, you know, I think there's something to be said for the talent that they've accumulated and now begun to develop. And so Quinn Clark and Keelan Smith didn't play last year, but they're going to play this year, and I think they're going to be pretty good. And that's a big plus for Nebraska. Those are guys that, when the top receiver has to come off the field, those guys can go in and they can hang. They can hang in there. They can hold their own. They can make plays. They can do all the things that you want them to do. I watched Keelan Smith make some really good plays during that game, and I watched or during the scrimmage, and I watched Quinn Clark, physically dominate a couple of guys blocking, and then he also could make plays, and so they're pretty good. They're good players, and so you've got other guys that can go in and do some things too. Hayes Miller. I was surprised, but he can hang in there with the top defense too. He can hold his own with that top defense. I thought Hayes Miller did some nice things. I was surprised. Jeremiah Jones can do that. I was not surprised there. But I thought again it looked like an awfully good group in my opinion, and I thought they did a nice job.
All right, Sam. Well, we'll let you go. Appreciate your coverage as always, and look forward to more of it coming up this week.
All right, take care.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. As always, check out his rewind and all the notes and all the things that are going on at omaha.com, or get a paper, as the big J journos would say. Buy a paper. Hashtag buy a paper, Josh.
I'm not familiar with that, but yes.
Hashtag buy a paper.
Buy a paper. They're right there at the gas station.
Or subscribe for a paper.
They'll drop it off at your house.
I want to talk about we still have a few things left to get to, but one thing before we take a break here. Set the calendar to this almost. We have professional volleyball news.
Volleyball news?
Professional volleyball news.
We love professional volleyball.
What do you think has happened in professional volleyball? It's either one of two things. It's either A, a new league has begun, or B, one of the existing leagues has merged with another.
What if I told you it was both at the same time, Connor?
So, the Professional Volleyball Federation,
PVF.
The PVF, that was the league that the Supernovas were in. And they declared their intention after 2 years to move to a new league called Major League Volleyball.
A third league.
A third league, which had not yet begun play. Well, Major League Volleyball and the Pro Volleyball Federation are merging, and they are calling it Major League Volleyball. So that's right. The Supernovas they are still in the league they were in and are in their new league at the same time.
And we'll play the
teams that were in their old league.
Okay.
All right.
Doesn't sound like a merger.
Well, I don't know. I don't know who works in the Major League Volleyball. It's mostly behind the scenes clerical stuff, right?
Structurally, financially, I'm sure it is a merger. But to you, the person who attends Omaha Supernovas games,
it's just a name change.
There will be one difference.
It's just the league is
just a different league logo in different spots of the arena and the court.
Less colorful league logo, it looks like.
That is
for the
true.
record.
It's all black and white. No pop of yellow in there.
Yeah. So congratulations to all involved.
Allie Batenhorst said, I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, what's her deal? She's
playing outdoor volleyball in Cali.
Not in any of those leagues.
Yeah, that's a different volleyball league.
All right. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right. Any further reaction, Josh, to the non-expansion of the NCAA tournament this year, the basketball tournament? Or
I guess,
or should I say the sport in which they dribble and shoot? Because people get offended by basketball in August.
Oh,
the dribble, shoot sport.
Good analysis by you. I guess I'm
The
a
squeaky
little.
squeak deep. Yep.
I'm surprised. I guess
kinda
that
am too.
cooler heads prevailed.
Well, I don't think that's what happened. I just think they couldn't figure it out. I don't think they came to this decision of like, we really can't do this. I think they tried to figure out a way to do it and then couldn't get everybody to agree to it, and they'll do it next year. So I think this might be our last 68 team tournament.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. I think this is probably it.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Get ready for all your favorite 500 Big Ten and SEC teams to make it next year. But not this year. This year, the door is closed. Well, the door is mostly closed. There'll be a few of them that sneak in there. Shout out to Oklahoma from last year or whatever. But yeah, that's so not for 2026. And still not officially for 2027 or beyond, but it's certainly.
I'm Greg Sankey. I'd like to congratulate the SEC being the only team to ever have every team make the tournament.
Nice job. That's a good Greg Sankey, Josh.
Thank you.
Nice job. A couple baseball things. All right. So the Speedway Classic was a disaster.
It was terrific.
Okay. The Braves won the game.
They did.
But Josh, I mean,
Chipper Jones
you've
throwing the
given
first
up.
pitch to Johnny Bench
I just want to make it really clear. Like, you've given up, right?
on life or
No, on the Braves for 2025.
Yeah, this weekend was my Super Bowl.
Okay. All right.
I didn't know there was a trophy, but before I
just didn't know what you were doing. I thought you were maybe thought that they were still in it for some reason, and I was gonna question that. Okay. All right. So
this is all I had was the Speedway Classic.
Gotcha. Speedway Classic champions. Great jerseys.
Yeah, I like
race
them.
car.
I would not buy one, but I understand what they were doing. It looked cool.
So every time Major League Baseball does one of these things and it doesn't end in a walk-off home run by Tim Anderson into a cornfield, they're like, why do we even do this? They're like, this is stupid. Just go back to the Field of Dreams every year and make them all Tim Anderson home run games. That's not how it works, okay?
Have Ray Liotta walk out of the cornfield every year. Ray Liotta's dead.
He's dead.
He ain't coming back.
Admittedly, it didn't go over well because I don't think Major League Baseball probably understood. I mean, it's hard. Like, you're inviting 90,000 people there, and then it rains the entire time.
Hey, look, we can only call this a record if we play baseball. So you two are playing an inning,
Right,
okay?
right.
Your safety be damned.
But every time we do this, I see people say that they should just scrap all the different ideas and just do the Field of Dreams game all the time. Wrong. Keep doing stuff like this.
Yes.
Keep trying.
They do it really well. I
don't know if they do it really well, but they keep.
You don't think they do it really well?
But just keep doing it.
Yes. I didn't know. I'm an idiot. I didn't know anything about Rick Wood until we played a game there.
This one in particular did not go over well, mostly because of the rain. Because of but also they ran out of food.
Okay, so I heard this. What they ran out of cheese and water and
they ran out of basically everything from what it sounds like because it rained.
Oh, so
everybody goes back to the concessions and they're shoulder for shoulder and they're buying the food. And then all of a sudden the food's gone and people are like, where's the food?
Because they make the mistake of telling them, hey, it's just going to be about 50, just like an airport.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just going to be about 15 minutes, guys.
Yeah, don't worry.
Just let it go.
Just grab a hot dog and head back out there. It'll be over soon.
Yep. And then it's 3 hours later. And
so sometimes you're just at the mercy of what you get. And they got a bad draw on this one.
Yeah.
But that's not a reason to not do them anymore.
Correct.
Play a baseball game on, whatever planet you would want to play it on next time. It's great. I love these ideas. And the Little League one has stayed around for a little while now. Obviously, they did Omaha, they did Brickwood, they did Speedway now. And I like it. I like their idea of doing these things.
I think baseball
London.
They do the crown jewel events very well. I think they think of things that will, like, even if the Braves weren't playing in this, I would have watched all the pregame festivities.
Yeah, there's some pomp and circumstance.
Yes, they do all of that very, very well.
So,
yeah, it rained. Yeah, Spencer Strider said it's going to rain all day. I know I'm from Tennessee and everybody wants to see me, but no, thank you.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
Yeah.
And in the Braves case, they won and it rained.
And they got a trophy.
They got a trophy.
This crap season, and they got a trophy to show for it.
Did they do burnouts?
Probably. I would have.
Nice.
Probably Blooper doing some burnouts. I didn't see any, but
I saw the guy holding after they hit the home run, driving the car around, and they hold the flag out the window.
Home run car.
That must have been really difficult to hold that flag up. That car was going.
Oh, sure. Okay.
It's a big flag.
Yeah.
Man,
you're sticking
you go down the road right now and drive 50 miles an hour and hold a flag out the window.
I would love to.
No, that would cause quite the scene and probably rip off your arm.
It's good promotion, though.
Not strong enough. You're not strong enough for this. So that took a lot. Anyway, don't cancel it just because it was bad. In the case of Firefest, it was never going to be good. This is just Firefest by circumstance.
No.
Not Firefest by planning, Firefest by circumstance. Firefest was Firefest by planning.
Yes.
That was bad.
They were always going
That
to
was a
screw you.
planned Firefest.
They were duping you.
Right.
You're an
This
idiot.
was just accidental Firefest.
Whoops.
Yeah.
A lot of fatties here in Bristol. We got no food.
So the question that I didn't prepare you for, Josh, is this. Where are we going? What else are we doing?
I was trying to think of that during the segment.
Where are we going? We going on top of a mountain?
Do you play one in Vegas just to kind of?
Oh no!
Hey,
they'd have to play it in a minor league park though, unless they built it on the Strip.
This is
maybe
coming.
they built it
Yeah.
in the Bellagio fountain.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Not big enough, probably, but interesting.
Now that the stadium they use for the Speedway Classic is getting donated to the field. I'm sorry. Is getting donated to East Tennessee State. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So they'll get a cool new field out of this. So maybe like UNLV can get a cool new field. Theirs is probably all turf though.
I don't know what they got going down
They're-
there.
It's college. They're all turf.
Okay. Let's see. What's like the highest possible elevation you could get?
Oh,
I'm thinking I want to play a game
on top of a mountain.
On top of a mountain. 5,800 feet at or 52, whatever it is, at course field. It's not enough. I want 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet. Can you play one in Breckenridge? Can you play one in, somewhere in Washington? Is there,
Appalachia.
Do we have enough room to carve out a Major League Baseball stadium inside of a mountain?
Kevin says a baseball game on an aircraft carrier.
There we go. Or you slam two aircraft carriers together or something like that. That's a sport that is actually meant to play outside.
Hitting balls into the water would be
splash hits.
Very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, you got people out there in kayaks.
Remember McCovey Cove?
I do.
I mean, it's still there.
That's where
but
Mike Yastrzemski used to hit home runs, and now he hits them into fountains instead.
It's still a water landing.
That's true, but I guess he hasn't done that yet. They were in Toronto this weekend, but
Oh.
he hit a home run in his first at bat there. That was cool.
I mean, you just did one in Tennessee, so you wouldn't do like Nashville or Portland, San Antonio.
Are you just saying cities now?
Cities that are kind of like, hey, give us a baseball team.
They got goofy. Oh, okay. All right.
One in Montreal, like baseball returns to Montreal.
I like the idea of like doing it with a bit. Like
I do too.
The Speedway thing is great.
Yeah. I just can't think of what the next good bit is.
Do more bits.
Yeah. Baseball does bits well.
What about like horse game? Play it around the Kentucky Derby and do and play it at Churchill Downs, and then you have the horses running around the entire game or something like that. Horse game.
Horse game.
I don't know.
How big is the infield?
at Churchill Downs.
At Churchill Downs.
There's got to be. There's got to be.
Is it even possible?
I don't think so, but you could retrofit it in some way, shape, or form.
What's his infield front seat changeover?
You got
tell me what they are. I don't know.
We got it. Don't worry. But yes, keep doing this. Do weird stuff. That's what I keep asking Major League Baseball to do. Also, speaking of Major League Baseball, I missed the show on Friday. I would have talked about this quite a bit. What the Minnesota Twins did was unbelievable at the trade deadline. If I had a radio show in Minneapolis on Friday, it would have been ugly. I would have been actually pissed. Like, I don't get on the radio and get mad. Don't put it on the internet that I get mad very much, especially like at the sports teams for making incorrect decisions. But like, I probably would have had a full-blown meltdown over this. This is unfathomable what the Minnesota Twins did. They ripped out their own hearts and sold it away for parts just because the owners are they're actively trying to sell the team and trying to pay for. I don't know if they're actively trying to sell the team, but like they're just trying to unload payroll, literally.
Yeah. I was
10
on
active
vacation.
Major League players.
10? Wow. Now most of them were trades, right? Like it wasn't for like cash, right?
Well, I mean, they saved over $25 million
because
by doing it.
I was genuinely wondering, because I wasn't following it all that closely, how were they going to field a team the next day?
Well, that was difficult, but good thing their AAA team is in St. Paul. And they got some guys in a trade, like Alan Roden. Shout out, honk, honk, go Jays. One of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they traded everybody. And then at a certain point, teams were just taking advantage of them. They're like, if you're trading everybody and you really want to dump payroll, like, what about Carlos Correa?
We'll give you this good player for him.
We'll give you a definitely good player for him.
We don't want the good player.
Yeah, it's not like they were trying to like build. A lot of times you see buyers and sellers at the deadline, and what are the sellers trying to do? They're trying to build for their future. They're trying to get prospects. They didn't really get anybody. I mean, no offense to the guys that they did get, but it wasn't like they have building blocks for the future of their franchise. They voluntarily put themselves in a pre-tank process, and they're still in the race. They're not dead. They killed themselves by doing what they did on Thursday. And it's baseball. All you have to do is get into the postseason. You're in the dance, and anything could happen from there. And they sold it all away. It's pretty nuts. Pretty if I was a Twins fan, I'd be incredibly unhappy. I would be about as unhappy as a baseball fan could possibly be on Thursday if I were a Minnesota Twins fan. But luckily, I am not.
Baseball season ended today.
Luckily, I am not.
Yeah.
All right, quick timeout. We'll be back. We have the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. Coming right up on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Cops proudly opens its newest location in Gretna. Satisfy your cravings at Nebraska Crossing or Shadow Lake Town Center. Indulge in mouthwatering pizza, fresh salads, and charred rotisserie wings with homemade sauces. Cops pizzas are loaded with toppings galore, including gluten-free and vegan options. Shadow Lake also serves up burgers, pasta, and shareables. Don't miss out on the deliciousness of Cops. Visit Cops today and experience the love in every bite. Cops Pizza, where every slice is made with passion. Hurry in and taste the difference at Cops.
All right, to the polls at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. There's a couple of them today. By the way, we heard from Sindelar on the chat here.
Hi, Alex.
Says, I'm sorry, but the Twins got Alan Roden, and that automatically makes them a trade deadline winner. There you go. Good spin zone.
Alex has spoken.
Do love Alan Roden.
One of us. One of us. That's right.
At Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Here are the polls. Are you still... Now, this ended up being quite the interesting conversation considering the bowling news we got during the show.
That's right.
But Matt talked about how he has to go bowl and how bad he is at bowling. So the poll question was, are you still learning how to bowl? No, I think I pretty much know what I'm going to know at this point. I don't have the desire to be better at bowling.
Right. Exactly.
Nor do I feel embarrassed enough to be motivated to be better at bowling. I am fine at bowling.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be better. I am accepted where I am at on bowling. I am not learning how to bowl anymore.
I'm right in that meaty part of the curve, and that's happy enough for me.
62% say no. 38% said, yep, I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
Is Nick Grimm like Burt Reynolds?
They almost have nothing in common.
Yeah, I'm going to go no. 77% say no.
Okay.
And finally, is the Conference USA the SEC of bowling?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So look at those polls. 2 bowling questions. Bowling-related items. 75% say yes.
You know, I'll just produce the show over the air. You know, I was gone last week.
Yep.
We could do best poll questions of July tomorrow.
No, we couldn't. I did them.
You did them?
I did them.
Wow.
I did them. Number 1 poll question for the month of July, by the way. Have you ever watched a YouTube video about a Caesar salad?
Okay. That's terrific.
You want the whole top 5? I'll give it to you.
I would
just
be
quickly,
interested.
Just quickly. Number 2, would you go to a non-Caitlin Clark WNBA game if it were downstairs?
Yeah, okay.
Number 3, is it lonely on top of a man on top of a unicycle? Number 4, does Matt look like he's had an ingrown toenail?
Definitely.
And number 5 is fancy coffee Gen X nonsense.
Good polls.
All right, thank you. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching baseball. Free game of the day on MLB TV at 5:30. Orioles at the Phillies. Cade Povich on the mound for Baltimore. Padres and America's team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, at 8:30.
We might have to amend that. I don't think they are anymore.
Really? Okay.
I don't have to pick. Maybe it's the Twins. Now.
Something to think about. On MLB Network tonight. ESPN all day long today, the 2025.
Actually, you know who America's team is, Josh? It's the Tigers. They're on every Sunday night baseball now.
Tark's pitching.
I don't know who pitched last night for them, but isn't that 3 straight weeks where the Tigers are Sunday night baseball?
Oh, were they on last night?
Yeah, there was the Phillies. Yeah.
That's 3 straight weeks.
What in the hell?
That's shocking.
They are America's team.
They really are. Yeah. Okay. It is official.
Yep.
2025 Little League World Series baseball regionals going on all day on ESPN. Kearney Little League defeated Missouri 13-3
Yeah, they
today.
did.
They will face Iowa or Wisconsin, the winner of that game, tomorrow in an elimination game. So
Sounds easy.
Ooh, okay. Little smack talk.
Yeah.
I like it. 6 o'clock on ESPN2, the 2025 Little League Softball World Series continues with Asia Pacific versus Canada for some reason.
All right.
6 o'clock on MTV. It is one of Connor's favorite movies, The Other Guys.
Nice. Shot Jeter.
Shot Jeter. And on Hulu today, all 10 episodes of season 14 of King of the Hill. It is back after years working a propane job in Saudi Arabia. Hank and Peggy return to a changed Texas to reconnect with old friends.
I did not know that they're rebooting the show.
They have rebooted it. It is on Hulu right now.
That's okay.
I'm
good.
Cautiously subscribe.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
For watching tonight. That's the show. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossovers coming up next.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details.